someone else space, using cards with empty promises. You don't need to worry about me again. Merry Christmas, baby. You wake up all alone and wonder why I'm not home, and I let my phone ring. A dose of your kind of love, and I'll let my absence show you what I've got you for Christmas is losing me. Merry Christmas, baby. You can have just what you gave me. You can keep the charms and light. You can keep your wandering hand and eyes.
My name is Isaac Boamanyako, the Member of Parliament for Efia constituency in the Western region of the Republic of Ghana. I read from Genesis chapter 3, verse number 8. And they heard the voice of the Lord God, walking in the of the Lord God amongst the trees of the garden. I take this opportunity to wish all of you, particularly the good people of Efia constituency and the Western region and the entire country, a very, very Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Is calm, no is bright, round yon virgin mother and child, holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. Silent night, holy night, shepherds speak, early sight, glory stream from heaven afar, heavenly hosts sing hallelujah. Christ is Savior is born. Christ is Savior is born. Silent night, holy night, Son of God, last pure light, radiant beams from thy holy face, with the dawn of redeeming grace. Jesus louder than I bet, Jesus louder than they bet.
My name is Honorable Collins Adoma Komensa, the Member of Parliament for the good people of Efija Kwabre North in the Ashanti region. And the Lord God said unto the serpent, I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Genesis 3:14-15. A Merry Christmas to the good people of Efija Kwabre North constituency, to the Queen Mothers and Chiefs throughout my constituency, and to all my employers, as I call them. I wish them a good year and a fantastic coming year.
Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Prospero y Felicidad. Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Prospero y Felicidad. I want to wish you a Merry wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart.
My name is Victor Kojogan Adawudu. I'm a legal practitioner, a member of the National Democratic Congress, the legal team, and the communication team. And the angel of the Lord called unto Abraham out of the heaven the second time, and said, By myself have I sworn, saith the Lord, that in blessing I will bless thee, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Genesis chapter 22, reading from verse 15 to 18. I take this opportunity of the Yuletide season to wish everybody the happy seasons, birth of Christ, as we commemorate. It's a season of uniting, becoming one people as nation. Let's see that we are the same people. Wish all the chiefs, the queen mothers in this country, especially in Central Tongue and Akan constituency, the chiefs, the queen mothers, all of them, and every citizen. I wish all the churches, especially ARS Church, all of them, that let's do something. That we pray the Lord will give us 2026, and 2026 we will live in the comfort, standard of life will improve, and we will see the faithfulness of God. And as God has said, that we shall be the seed and of the nation, and we shall be blessed. Let that blessing be upon this nation, be upon our leaders, that we will forge ahead, that at the end of the day, peace and joy will be the portion of every citizen of this country.
My name is Okunye Nabi Nyokobi Daniel Ne Kwate Titus Glover. Our third reading is taken from the book of Isaiah, the chapter 9 and the verse 2. And I read, The people that walked in darkness have seen a great light. They that dwell in the land of the shadow of death, upon them had the light shined. Amen. On behalf of my family, I want to take this opportunity to wish every Ghanaian a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. I wish you all because my appeal particularly is going to our drivers on our roads. Please, and please, the safety of your passengers are in your hands. This Christmas, we want people to be alive. So our prayer is that as we prepare for this Christmas, we want every passenger, including the drivers and their mates, to leave your stations to your destinations safe and healthy. So once again, I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year in advance. Amen.
name is Sofo Tanko Rashid Computer, CEO of Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communication, and also Deputy National Director of Elections for the ruling NDC government. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Isaiah 9:6. I wish to take this opportunity to wish the good people of Ghana a happy Christmas and a prosperous New Year. We from GFEC will continue to partner media houses, especially Metro TV, and then its cherished listeners and viewers across the globe, so that we have a wonderful Christmas this year. We believe that you need to have your life in order to enjoy Christmas. You don't have to be in the grave in order to enjoy Christmas. So let's live a responsible life. Our drivers should drive our brothers and sisters home safely. Those who want to embark onto their hometown to enjoy the Christmas, we entreat our drivers, transport owners, to be sure that they send them home safely. We want every Ghanaian to be alive, to enjoy their fruit of labor. Once again, I wish the good people of my hometown, which is Bimbilla, wish them well, and hope that they have a very prosperous New Year coming in after the Christmas celebration. Thank you once again.
I bet to you. I feel sharper for me to envy. I feel sharper for me to envy.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. Today is the 30th of December 2025. In less than 24 hours, a new year beckons. 2026. I hope you're ready for it. And as always, I hope and prayer that 2026 gets better. If you didn't or you couldn't achieve your aspirations or your dreams or your plans or whatever it is that you want to do in 2025, we hope that 2026 would bring in its wake good luck, good tidings, and all the things that you wish for yourself. But anyway, welcome to the show. This is Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. My name is Moro Awudu. Today is the last show, the final show, as you see. As you can see, as writing at the back, just behind me, it's beautifully written there. It's called the final show. It's a final show, so it's going to be a very, very special show for today and on Good Morning Ghana. And it's special because it's not going to take the usual form that you know Good Morning Ghana to be, which is essentially a newspaper-driven conversation. Today we have some very special guests be joining us to have a conversation about this country. But anyway, let me just say that big thanks to the Almighty Allah, the Almighty God, for making it possible for us to be here again. It's a rare privilege because some people actually slept last night and didn't wake up again. So we keep saying that it's always a rare privilege to be back here to join the nation's conversation on the big issues that matter to all of us. I'm talking about Ghanaians. So I'm not going to have the newspapers. In fact, I don't have the newspapers with me today, but what I do have is there's some online portals that I will be sharing with you. So I'll start with your favorites, your number one, MetroTVOnline.com. Now, MetroTVOnline.com has these stories. It says 31st Watch Night, be measured in your prophecies, a National Peace Council to prophets. And as Ukraine denies a drone attack on Putin's residence, there's a Kaswa tragedy. 6-year-old boy drowns in open water tank while retrieving football. And as Grace Afadu wins Inspiring Woman of the Year at Ghana Business and Heroes Awards, there's Oti region gets first passport application center among the new regions. FIFA World Cup 2026 ticket demand breaks all records. Open letter to Gold Board CEO Sami Jenfi, and there's Amasaman China Mall ordered to shut down over safety concerns. My transformation is from fasting and prayers, not surgery, Florence Obinim. Gold for reserve is forex policy, not profit scheme. Gold Board CEO Sami Jenfi has been talking. And then also, let's check out what's on the City Newsroom, or what's in the City Newsroom. Kaswa boy 6 drowns in water storage tank. The city posed marginal gains as year-end nears $1 now 11.11. Amazing stuff, isn't it? There's also NIMOS raids Galamsey sites along Birim River. Arrest 5 Chinese miners. Ashanti region, stay away from drugs. Mwakuhine warns youth. You know, Dr. Mwakuhine is the Ashanti regional minister, so that's the one. That's the chap I'm talking about. Yusuf Suleimana, land key to sustainable development. Amasaman China Mall temporarily closed after section collapses. Majority Gold Board losses are transaction cost. Minority peddling $214 million propaganda. Gun amnesty, thousands of illegal firearms surrendered. That's according to NACSA. Sami Jenfi slams minority of BOG loss claims, welcomes probe. And the Bright Simons has also been talking on this gold, on the Gold Board issue, Gold Board IMF matter. He says, is talk of losses by Gold Board just abstract drive? That's a very interesting article there. So that's the City Newsroom. Now let's check out what's on Ghana Web. Yep, Ghana Web. Ghana Web this morning has these stories. Which of your old ideas reduce the dollar fuel? University of Ghana professor takes on upon Kroma. And there's Custom Authority and the Queen Mother questing in Asantemine. Talk Party. Professor Kobe Mensah blast minority. There's Anthony Joshua's coach and close friend among accident fatalities reports. It's very unfortunate incident, isn't it? 2 of his Anthony Joshua's close friends have been involved in that very ghastly accident. It's terrible. Now we're told that Anthony Joshua says he's never going to make any return to Nigeria. You know, it's not a good thing. Anyway, Afrofuture 2025 delivers superb show as Dirty December winds down. And there's first Christmas under Mahama, yet many people cannot afford what? Okay. And there's U.S. offers undocumented migrants $3,000 to voluntarily return home. There's President Mahama seeks to Asantehene's blessings for good governance. Says denying your partner sex can lead to jail for emotional abuse, according to the police. Hey. This matter. Well, we've heard. My Joe Online this morning says 31st Nice Doom prophecies, be cautious and measured. MPC to prophets. CD records year-end rally at diaspora inflows and trade surplus break volatility cycle. Gar West Municipal Assembly shuts down China Mall after building collapse. We will prosecute persons who do not surrender illegal arms before January 15. Dr. Bonar. Kenneth Sabwaji warns against outsourcing African security following U.S. airstrikes in Nigeria. SEC assures investor protection as virtual asset bill comes into force. So that's it for the online review. I've looked at 4 online portals. My name is once again is Mo Radu. Now stay with us, don't go anywhere. I'll be introducing my guest shortly.
Sometimes the unexpected happens and the hero falls down in his own story. But he needs not stay down for long. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance is your trusted health partner. Whether an individual building a business, with Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern. For the best health insurance solutions for corporate institutions, groups and associations, families and individuals, choose Cosmopolitan Health Insurance from our over 700 accredited health service providers nationwide. Call us on 0302 540 668 or 0501 678 547 for all your health insurance solutions. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern.
I'm a branch manager. Of course, I accept only quality and affordable printed souvenirs for my promotional campaigns.
I'm the head of academic affairs of a very important institution in Ghana. Of course, we only deal with quality, reliable printing companies for our institution's printing materials. I'm talking about appointed time printing.
Appointed Time Printings. We take pride in our extensive print scope that transform your ideas into captivating visual masterpieces. We delve into the core objectives and vision of each print project. Precision printing is at the heart of our printing process as we meet your tight deadlines. Our rigorous inspection, color verification, and overall printing excellence are assured. 20 years of printing excellence. It's always a pleasure working with you to create a vibrant, dazzling printing experience that gives you a masterpiece. Appointed Time Printing, your world of quality and affordable printing.
Brush, 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 brush your teeth. Brush, 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 2 times a day. Brush with Kel-Kit.
Hello, my friends. My name is Kel-Kit Toothpaste.
Wow.
I was made to be gentle on your gum, but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger, chicky chicky whiter, chicky chicky stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Kel-Kit, happy smile.
In a world where security is paramount, peace of mind should be a necessity and not a luxury. This is why Virtual Security Africa has created a special discount package up to 30% on our 4 and 8 channel high definition cameras. We are more affordable now than ever. With as low as 4,130 Ghana cedis, you can get 4 high definition cameras, 3 terabyte hard drive, cables, and a digital video recorder. With 6,440 Ghana cedis, you will get 8 high-definition cameras, 3 terabyte hard drive, cables, and a digital video recorder. Why choose us? Because we offer top-tier quality you can trust, lifetime after-sale support, 2 years warranty, and you can view our systems remotely. Sidinua Peke. Spend less, secure more. Call us on 055 874-0764 and 050-331-4068. Virtual Security Africa. We will beat the advertised price of any security product of comparable quality.
The festive season is here again, and your most preferred estate partner is giving you 25% discount on land sale. Yes, for our Bronya Asase promo, Estate Masters is offering this massive discount for outright purchases. This includes free indenture, free site plan, and a free site visit. So what are you waiting for? Rush now and secure a plot of land while it is still hot. Reach out to us using the numbers below or visit our website at www.estatemastersgh.com. Estate Masters, your most preferred estate partner.
As soon as we resume early next year, we're moving from the constitutional review process into the implementation process. And so early next year, we would announce an implementation committee. And of course, we're going to call some of you to come and serve on that committee because we need that institutional memory transferred into the implementation. And so take a rest now, but next year we might call some of you again to form the Constitutional Review Implementation Committee. For now, we'll study the report. I've handed it over to the Legal Counsel and the Attorney General. They will look at it, and we'll see how to synchronize, our views. I think that many of the recommendations you've made are quite revolutionary. Some are quite radical, but I think that it's in the interest of our democracy. Currently in our sub-region, we can see many countries backsliding with regards to their democratic and constitutional governance. And so this couldn't have come at a better time. All the Afrobarometer reports and all the other reports had shown that a lot of our citizens were beginning to lose faith in our democracy. And that is why it is important for us to let them know that democratic governance is still better than any other form of governance. You might be excited about the romanticism of military governments and all that, but in the end, it is democratic governments that unleash the creative potential of people. If you leave them free, able to express themselves and go about their businesses, it unleashes their creative potential, unlike where decisions have to be taken for everybody.
We took to heart the recommendations that we got from many of the eminent persons that we met, including some who have occupied your seat, that the 4-year term was short. It was too short. And we also then learned that the emerging global norm was 5. And that even in the region, we in Nigeria have the lowest. 4 is pretty low. So we're proposing an extension by 1 more year. We have coupled that with certain recommendations on in the area of campaign and campaigning, because the claim was that the president takes about 6 months or so to set up, and then 1 year campaigning and all of that. So we thought, okay, so if we then followed the example of other countries in Africa, including Senegal, where there is a definite campaign period before which you cannot do electioneering. You can't put posters, can't put billboards, can't do jingles, can't do rallies. So it's like the fishing season. You have to open it before you can go fish. So we are proposing a campaign season, a short one, so that government will have time to govern, and that the people we elect to do the government's business will really have time to focus on governing as opposed to doing campaigning. So for the first time, we hope, if this is accepted, that we will have a political or electoral environment where campaigns, we do not run 24-hour, 24/7, 4-year campaigns, but where there is a definite period before which parties and candidates may not do campaigning. We think that would free up time for governing. But I think some of the changes we've also made in the area of appointments, I think will also unburden the presidency and also allow the president to focus more on the real business of governing as opposed to being saddled with many appointments
As soon as we resume early next year, we're moving from the constitutional review process into the implementation process. And so early next year, we would announce an implementation committee. And of course, we're going to call some of you to come and serve on that committee because we need that institutional memory transferred into the implementation. And so take a rest now, but next year we might call some of you again to form the Constitutional Review Implementation Committee. For now, we'll study the report. I've handed it over to the Legal Counsel and the Attorney General. They will look at it, and we'll see how to synchronize, our views. I think that many of the recommendations you've made are quite revolutionary. Some are quite radical, but I think that it's in the interest of our democracy. Currently in our sub-region, we can see many countries backsliding with regards to their democratic and constitutional governance. And so this couldn't have come at a better time. All the Afrobarometer reports and all the other reports had shown that a lot of our citizens were beginning to lose faith in our democracy. And that is why it is important for us to let them know that democratic governance is still better than any other form of governance. You might be excited about the romanticism of military governments and all that, but in the end, it is democratic governments that unleash the creative potential of people. If you leave them free, able to express themselves and go about their businesses, it unleashes their creative potential, unlike where decisions have to be taken for everybody.
We took to heart the recommendations that we got from many of the eminent persons that we met, including some who have occupied your seat, that the 4-year term was short. It was too short. And we also then learned that the emerging global norm was 5. And that even in the region, we in Nigeria have the lowest. 4 is pretty low. So we're proposing an extension by 1 more year. We have coupled that with certain recommendations on in the area of campaign and campaigning, because the claim was that the president takes about 6 months or so to set up, and then 1 year campaigning and all of that. So we thought, okay, so if we then follow the example of other countries in Africa, including Senegal, where there is a definite campaign period before which you cannot do electioneering. You can't put posters, can't put billboards, can't do jingles, can't do rallies. So it's like the fishing season. You have to open it before you can go fish. So we are proposing a campaign season, a short one, so that government will have time to govern, and that the people we elect to do the government's business will really have time to focus on governing as opposed to doing campaigning. So for the first time, we hope, if this is accepted, that we will have a political or electoral environment where campaigns, we do not run 24-hour, 24/7, 4-year campaigns, but where there is a definite period before which parties and candidates may not do campaigning. We think that would free up time for governing. But I think some of the changes we've also made in the area of appointments, I think will also unburden the presidency and also allow the president to focus more on the real business of governing as opposed to being saddled with many appointments, some of which we believe that the president would be more than happy to give up.
You're watching Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. This is the special edition. Indeed, this is the final edition of the show for 2025. We are back next week, Monday, to kickstart 2026. The first edition of Good Morning Ghana in 2026 will be back on Monday. Now, today being the final show, not a showdown, but a final show, we want to dedicate this to look at Ghana, where we are, where we want to go. What are the current challenges we have? What role does the Constitution, the 1992 Constitution, have to do with all of this in terms of whether our development is going at the pace at which we want it to go, or it's not happening at the pace at which it ought to go? Collectively and generally, Ghanaians believe that our Constitution plays a very key role, a very, very instrumental role as far as our development is concerned, or the slow pace of our development is concerned. There are some who also say that the Constitution as we have it, it's okay. It's not perfect, but it's fine. It's a sacred document. Why touch it? If it ain't broken, why fix it? So why am I making all this commentary? It's about the Kwesi Prempeh, or H.K. Kwesi Prempeh's committee report, Constitution Review report, which recently was presented to the presidency. I'm talking about Monday, December 22, 2025. The committee, which was set up by the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, was mandated to review, among other things, and address challenges arising from previous constitutional review processes, particularly those that the 2010 Constitution Review Commission and the 2023 Constitution Review Consultative Committee, which was chaired by the likes of Clara Kasati. They did a good job, I believe. Now, this was compiled over several months. So we're talking about 11 months or so. The final report contains proposed amendments to Ghana's 1992 Constitution. It's aimed at strengthening governance, promoting citizen participation, and addressing key national issues. Now, the chair of the committee, Professor Henry Kwesi Prempeh, is saying that the proposed amendments are grounded in nationwide consultations and expert contributions. And there are quite a number of these recommendations. But if you look across the media platforms, it appears that 10 of these recommendations appear to have attracted the attention of the generality of the broader masses. I will at some point be walking you through the 10 that appears the Ghanaians are talking about. But Kwesi Prempeh says, now he's emphasized that the proposal is aimed at enhancing governance efficiency and deliberately excludes any provision for a third term. He was very emphatic about that. Now, some of the key highlights contained in the report. There's a 5-year presidential term issue which has come up. There's a cap on ministerial appointments. There's an end to MP to minister appointments, which is we want to have a proper, effective separation of powers. You're an MP, do your job as an MP. You want to be a minister, be a minister. But even if you're an MP and you decide that you don't want to become an MP anymore, okay? You decide that you want to relinquish that position, you still cannot be made a minister. That's what the report is recommending. There's also a reduction of presidential age limits from 40 to 30. There's a cap on Supreme Court judges. There's a 10-year non-renewable term for EC boards and their deputies. There's a sole anti-corruption commission. So all these anti-corruption institutions are going to be put in one institution, okay, compressed, and called the Anti-Corruption Commission. There's a tax on presidential emoluments and the Council of State Reforms. Now, the thing about the Council of State Reforms is that there were some persons who felt that we actually didn't need a Council of State. It should be scrapped because it's been a drain on our public kitty. But the committee, after engaging Ghanaians across the length and breadth of this country, didn't think that the Council of State should be scrapped. They are saying they are rather proposing some reforms that ought to be brought to bear on the work of the Council of State. So my guests are seated, and now our guests for today have been carefully and strategically chosen because Ghana is not just for the elderly or the older persons, also for the young people. They have a view, they have opinions. Actually, the youth have to own this constitution because it's about the future, isn't it? All right, so the production team thought it wise to invite the older folks and the younger folks to come and have a conversation about our country, Ghana. What are the aspirations of the youth? And does that find its expression in the work of the H.K. Prempeh Committee? Joining us this morning is a man who was part of the beginnings of the Good Morning Ghana program, the Good Morning Ghana show. In fact, they were part of I call him a founding member of the Good Morning Ghana program. What a way to end the year with him. I'm talking about a man who is an insurance marketer, but he's a very passionate Ghanaian. I mean, it's difficult to tell where his heart really belongs politically. Yes, he votes. I'm sure he probably does have a preference, but it doesn't show in the way he analyzes issues. He hardly talks. He's mostly in his home. Also, occasionally he'll send us a message. When we're doing well, he'll comment. If you're not doing well, he'll blast you. You know, that's how passionate he is about this country. I'm talking about Edgar Riadu. Edgar, it's good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I guess I'm good.
And compliments of the season.
Thank you. Unfortunately, I was so much concerned about what I needed that I forgot to say hi to my brother. Justice.
That's Justice Abdullahi.
I forgot to say hi to him when I was because I was so concerned about.
All right.
No, I was there on the phone.
Right. Now, also joining us, in fact, he's just taking the wind out of my sails. He's done the introduction for me, but that's informally. I'm now going to do the formal introduction of Justice Abdullahi. Look, Justice Abdullahi, we all know, is one of the foremost authorities when it comes to constitutional governance. He is another passionate Ghanaian. He's not a youth necessarily because he's about 40, but his youth at heart, and a very good friend of mine. He's a law lecturer, UPSA. Again, very difficult to tell where he belongs. I mean, he's been saying this as it is. Doesn't matter whose ox is God, and that's why he's here, because it's about Ghana. So, Justice Abdullahi, good morning. It's good to see you. How are you?
Good morning, Moro.
Yeah.
All the propaganda.
Are you politically aligned?
Naturally.
Okay.
I am.
Okay.
Except I try not to show it in public.
Right. Yeah.
Like you said, I do vote and I do have my preference.
Yeah.
Except that I'm more passionate.
Oh, please, your microphone is off. Actually, sorry about that. Yes.
Oh, that's all right.
I asked whether you're politically aligned.
And I did say yes because I vote.
Okay.
And I have my preferences. Right. Except that I keep swinging between the two major political parties, depending on the circumstances. Okay. So luckily for me, I don't have any political card. Okay. For any of the political parties. So it makes it easier for me.
Okay.
To vote on issues than.
Right.
On
so you are neither green nor blue.
Not at this moment.
Not at this moment.
Can never tell.
Okay.
Yeah. The future is.
So you are a typical floating voter.
I think it is good to put it that way.
Okay.
A typical one.
Or a swing voter.
I think I'm a floating one is okay. I'm not on autopilot.
Oh, you're not on autopilot.
Yeah.
I see. I keep saying there are three groups of people. There are dyed in the wool MVP NDC. And then there are floating voters who look at issues and personalities. So basically, messenger. And then there are those who say, well, I'm NDC, but I can vote for a candidate, but it doesn't matter whether. So say maybe I'm NDC or MPP. But depending on which candidate is put up for the elections, I could vote, in the opposite direction. There's that group of people, except that they are not that many, are they?
Yeah, of course.
Yes, they are in the minority.
You're always tagged somehow.
Yes.
So
have you been tagged before?
Oh, several times. I mean, during the last elections, I think for some time I have been tagged as an NDC, and I love it actually.
Okay.
For the past, let's say, about 3 years or 4 years.
I see.
And I love the tag because I have never belonged for some time. So, once I'm getting to belong, I love it. And then I love it also because of the abysmal performance of the past administration. Right. I couldn't just hide those, and so once I was effectively known. In fact, it started off as being tagged as a disgruntled MPP. And then eventually, I think I kept moving on the ladder, and then eventually I became pure NDC. And I've loved it.
I see, but you take all of that in your stride.
I love it, like I said.
I see. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So there's a man here who There's not in doubt at all. I mean, he's NDC. I mean, I don't think that it's public knowledge, but you won't call him a zombie party supporter. He would, if he thinks that is wrong, he'll say it. You know, if he thinks that is right, he would commend it. And that's one of the things that I like about him. You know, he's not. I won't say he's not. Of course, he's on autopilot, but then he is a fairly independent-minded person. You know, as far as even when his party is concerned, and I don't think that he has any qualms or any reservations about that at all. I'm talking about Vincent Letcha Kobla Jokoto. He's a businessman, first of all, but he's not been called to the Ghana bar, but he's a lawyer. You can call him a solicitor at best. And he's also here with us. Vincent, good to see you.
Morning, Moro.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you too?
Touch base. It's been almost 5 years.
Yeah, I know. Back in the day when we used to do a lot of the media interactions, except that you decided to abandon me small when the money started coming. You know, I will also make money. Don't worry. Yes, Edgar has made me a promise that
we're back in full swing now.
Anyway, Edgar, you know, you're also one of those people who I mean, it's a bit difficult to tell where you really belong. You know, I've never heard you sound very partisan about an issue. Why? You don't belong to any political party?
I don't belong to any. I don't hold a
party card.
A party card,
okay.
Whatever. It's just like I kind of, I wouldn't even use the word that Justice used, but it's like you look at the prevailing situation on the ground, what is going on, and it's one of the things that I would even deal with relating to the, how do you call it, the 5-year tenure, right? If it's not on, it's not on. Get out and let somebody come in. You understand?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not on, it's not on. You are messing up. Get out, let somebody come in.
Okay. Well, it looks like you've actually been kickstarted a conversation already. Anyway, so we'll get to brass tacks. We'll get to the meat of the conversation, or the main substance of the conversation. But there's a question I want to ask Justice Abdullahi, because I mean, look, Justice Abdullahi.
Yes.
Perhaps in the last 15 years or so, the conversation about the Constitution, the 1992 Constitution, and whether it has served us well, has always been the public domain. And I recall that before Professor Mills won the 2009 elections, it was one of the things that he promised was going to do. And of course,
in contest, almost all the candidates
have talked
actually.
about it.
I mean, during the presidential election,
yes.
I'm sorry, what's it called? The debate.
Yes, it came up.
All candidates.
Yes, promised that they would do it.
Promised reviewing the Constitution.
That's very true. So Professor Mills won elections, and then he decided that, yes, he would do it. I mean, in line with his own promise, in keeping it with his promise. And so set up the Professor Kofi Fiajo committee to look into the Constitution and so on and so forth. But it must have been in 2011, thereabout. Yeah. We know what happened to it in 2015 when Professor Kweku Azan decided to take the matter to, because he was never convinced that if the head of the executive could commission, you know, or could put a team together to look into the 1992 Constitution. And he gave his own reasons, but that's just by the by, it's in the past. And
those reasons were cogent, though, because if you look at the tenet of the Constitution, it does provide for the roadmap of amendment.
And that does not include.
But it doesn't talk about how, I mean, who effects those amendments.
Oh, so he had a case.
So he did have a very good case.
The court threw him
because
out.
The Constitution simply says that, no, the court didn't
necessarily throw him
actually,
out.
Yeah, that's not what happened. The court said that, well, somebody has to do it.
Yes.
Literally, if you want to put it in blank, that someone has to do that job. Unfortunately, the Constitution doesn't provide who initiates it.
Right.
And so once the president has started, more or less.
So in the face of that lacuna.
So it literally filled that lacuna, if you like.
Right.
So not that he was thrown out.
Right.
And I think sometimes what we need to understand is that constitutional matters are not necessarily about winning or losing, because whichever way the decision falls affects all of us equally. And including who the person that you may want to call the loser, is directly affected as youth stand by who doesn't even care about the workings of the Constitution. So there's really no winner or loser if you look at it from that angle, because in fact the loser might be the citizen of Ghana, not necessarily the person who initiated the action.
Right. So his basis for going to court was a very valid one.
It was.
Like you're saying.
It was. In fact, it still is a valid point.
Yeah. Interestingly, the report did not actually, in fact, Ghanaians didn't think that it was an issue. So it didn't even find expression in, well, it depends on the issues that it took out there to the people, isn't it?
Right.
I'm sure that if they took that matter to the people to ask who should be initiating the processes of change,
actually, it has been addressed this time. In this new one. Yes, it has been addressed.
Oh, I've read it, but I didn't see.
No, it has been addressed. So now, because Prempeh calls it the, if you like, the citizens' initiation. So, like everybody else, anyone else at all. In fact, and Professor Prempeh has actually been talking about this even before Asari's case came up, Professor Azan's case came up. And he always likened it with the, I think, the Kenyan Constitution, where an ordinary citizen could rise up tomorrow and initiate a constitutional amendment. And so he felt that was a better option for all of us, rather than sitting back and, in fact, in our case, having no knowledge of who could initiate an amendment. In fact, which is what culminated in the Professor Asari's case before the Supreme Court. And so this is what he has been trying to do, and he captured this aptly in the report.
But I think, let me just add something. I think in that case, this issue, but I think even the court ruled that anybody can initiate it.
In fact, because the Constitution doesn't provide who does it. So now
then the question was the process.
The process is rather spelled out in the Constitution.
But the argument here was that he was more like, it shouldn't be the executive.
Absolutely.
Yes, you see, he was more like, it shouldn't be the executive.
That's correct.
But probably some organized, established body should initiate that. Yes. Yes, that's it. Because if it is the sole prerogative of the president, then it's like, if anything the president doesn't like, then having majority in parliament, you can you can just go ahead and say.
But strictly speaking, Edgar, what's wrong if the president initiates it?
That's the danger he has just talked about.
So which is that you select your own friends.
So just imagine JM decides that he wants to go for a third time.
Because this argument has been going on for some time. The minority has been raising it all this period that the man wants to go have a third term. And then because they have a majority in parliament, they can really do that. And all these things are, not to mention the processes of referendum and all that, but you see that kind of mentality. So it is like, you want to, and I think that is what this constitution is trying to address, right? Trying to cut the powers that the president has. All right. So he does not as and when at the twinkle that I want this done, and then quickly it is done. So it's like some of these things are. Yeah.
All right. So back to my more fundamental question, which is this: just of the end, I was building up to that point. That is there really something wrong with this constitution? Now, when you study development across the globe, you would realize that oftentimes when a constitution has to be amended, is either the country is just coming out of a war situation or something, there's been a major development that then wakes the citizenry up and says, okay, you know what, this constitution has not served us well, and so we ought to do something better. But we're living peacefully. Yes, we have our own concerns and reservations and disquiet about some portions of the constitution and so on. It's a legal framework. We can amend aspects of it through a referendum or through parliament or even through the Supreme Court. So why must we be going through this route? I mean, is it necessary? What is really broken about this constitution ought to be fixed? So fundamentally, in principle, do you think that this exercise is even necessary in the first place?
Absolutely, I do. But I think that what you may have to appreciate is that we have a history. We are coming from a particular background. And admittedly, this constitution was done at a time that we were not in an ideal situation as a country when this constitution was drafted. Remember, we had a military leader at the time, surrounded by military men ruling this country when this constitution was drafted. And so naturally, and then of course, also remember the historical part of some sections of the Ghanaian populace deciding to abstain from participating in the drafting of the then constitution, or the current constitution. And so it didn't have that, if you like, participation of some of the people that were really needed in drafting a good constitution, which is why it was termed as the Chopba Constitution at a point, because particularly the legal fraternity decided to abstain from it and all of that, and there were a lot of other stakeholders who could have made solid inputs but were not available to do so. But those issues notwithstanding, we still had a good constitution. And I say it's a good constitution from two main backgrounds. First, because the constitution we have today is a reflection, if you like, a total reflection of the previous constitution, 1979 Constitution of Liman. It's about 80 to 90% the same, really. But, and so that's one angle. In fact, if you like, from the Second Republican Constitution, actually, from the days of, coincidentally, President Akufo-Addo, the kind of constitution we had in the Second Republican Constitution is just almost the same as this one, except if we, at every point in time, we build upon the new one. And so moving from the 69 to the 79 Constitution was a build-up. And so, but largely about 70 to 80% the same Constitution. And then from the 79 to the 92 Constitution, the same thing, about 70% the same, or 80% thereabout. Right. And so we only add to the quality of what we had. But this time we are not having a new Constitution. This time we are saying that we are it's still the same 1992 Constitution. And the concerns you raised, as you pointed out, I mean, the things that we believe are wrong with it are the ones that we are trying to address. So we are not having a completely new constitution. In fact, if you look at the mandate of Professor Prempeh's review, it was to review what had been done and not to do a new one.
True.
It's not a new thing.
True.
They only reviewed what Professor Fiajo did.
Right.
And so, and Professor Fiajo's mandate was to also look at the existing constitution and make recommendations as to what could be amended. So what it means is that it is still the same 1992 constitution. We are not going to have a 2026 constitution. That's not what's going to happen. Okay. We're going to have the same 1992 constitution, except that extensive amendment.
Right.
And mind you, some of the amendments have already started. I mean, the easier ones have already been commenced, even though we are not seeing it as it should be. And so that is the first thing about it. Now, ask if there is something wrong with the constitution that needs amendment. There are a lot of things that need amendment. After operating the constitution for about 32 years thereabout, I think it is just right that we do some level of introspection to see where the constitution falls short and where it is not serving our needs so well. And I think that's where we have come to. I can understand that there are radical changes, serious radical changes, particularly when we are this current amendment, if adopted, seeks to send us back to the 1979 Constitution by way of parliamentary and, in fact, the governance structure. It's literally taking us back.
Yeah.
So if you look at the 79 Constitution, for instance, members of parliament were not members of the executive. That's where we are going back to. Unlike the previous 69 Constitution and then indeed the 1960 Constitutions, which were quite similar by way of having cabinet systems of cabinets sometimes fused with executive. But this one has purely the 1979 Constitution, where your members of parliament are coming from parliament without any eye on the executive. But that has always been the challenge. This is a grave challenge in our current systems. And so if you are seeking to amend that, I think it is just right that we do so. If this one has not served us after 32 years, if that's not served us well, obviously I think it's an appropriate thing to do. It's only a fool who doesn't change his mind. I mean, we thought that this could help us because we have tried the 79 Constitution and have tried the 69 Constitution, which were completely opposite of each other. And both didn't serve us well. Okay. And so when we decided to merge the two into the 1992 Constitution and discovered that still not serving us well, I think it is just right that for matured people, experienced people, we go back to what we believe is a good thing. I mean, you don't operate the same thing when it's not serving you well.
Right.
But Nora, I think a very interesting thing to notice.
In fact, okay.
Perhaps
I was going to ask you a question, but yes.
This is the first period I think we can clearly say there's a lack of political motivation in terms of manipulating the Constitution.
Okay.
And when we take the Second Republic, the 1969 Constitution, we had Edward Akufo-Addo, who had been who became Chief Justice, being a part of that Constitutional Committee. We saw how that Constitution was manipulated to allow him to become a ceremonial president with Busia holding powers as Prime Minister. Right. And we saw how Bidema was barred from taking his seat as leader of opposition. Right. So that was a clearly politically motivated constitution that sought to destroy or eliminate the Nkrumah's element from Ghana. In the Liman government, similarly, we had come from, a culture of coup d'etats, more or less. This time around, we've enjoyed over 3 decades of stable democracy. I think this is an avenue for a new kind of revolution. We've had a young president in his 30s come through power with the barrel of the gun. What makes you think this time around we wouldn't have a new group or a new era of young people coming to power through the ballot box? So yes, I think the old guard is obsessed with a few, changes to the Constitution, which may either shift the balance of power to government sitting in power, which may work against the opposition. But I think the Constitution goes way beyond that. It's a call for an entirely new generation to be architects of the future of Ghana. And I'm a little bit disappointed as far as the sensitization is concerned. I would have loved to see a lot more MPs getting on the ground, asking the people what they want to see in that new Constitution, and bringing those things before the floor of Parliament. Right. So the spirit of the amendment hasn't quite, taking its rightful place as far as the sentiments of the masses are concerned. And I don't think any of these amendments should happen on the blind side of the people. Right. So a lot more must be done. But young people must realize that the old guard is more or less, and if you look at the presidential age limit, is more or less giving a very rare opportunity to pass the baton on. And we must begin to start thinking about, some of the systems and how to adjust them to the Ghana that we want in future, and start honestly having those discussions beyond partisan lines.
So I get the impression from your preliminary comment on this matter that you are in full force with advocates of an amendment to this Constitution.
Absolutely.
It's for you, it's like a dream come true.
Absolutely.
I get that sense. Okay, because in fact, after the presentation, we had some youth groups issuing press release, and I think I have some here. And they were very excited that for the first time, somebody has heard, or their hopes and aspirations have found expression in what is going to be I don't want to say a new constitution, but what's even the right word?
It's good to call it a new constitution.
Yes, because you see, semantics are important.
Except that when you it's the same, because an amendment.
Or
so
let's say
it doesn't bring a new constitution.
A reviewed constitution. Yeah. Let's put it that way. You know what I mean? So I find this. And the point he makes about the fact that it appears that there hasn't been any serious public sensitization to get a public buy-in. Of course, the committee went round, spoke to Ghanaians and so on, but that's like on new clause basis. Like I said, they zoned it and went
that's
to
not
groups
just
of people and so on. But you see, I think people didn't even know Kwesi Prempeh was working.
No. You see, that's because you are. I think you are going ahead of yourself because this is if you like, the beginning of it, right? So it is only after this. Remember, per the amendment provisions in the Constitution, it goes automatically to the public for 6 good months. Now, within those 6 months is a period of campaigning by all stakeholders, and it's published in the Gazette. So even those who do not want to see would see. In fact, I would recommend that it's even published in the Daily Graphic and other newspapers, full versions of them.
Okay.
Because, access to the Gazette is relatively difficult compared to, a newspaper. And then, of course, luckily for us, it's online. It's almost on governmental portals. And so, for those who would want to participate in this whole space, I think they would have the opportunity. And luckily for us, I think if you've noticed, the past 1 week, the entire media has been buzzing with constitution. In fact, this matter.
You're right.
The entire 1 week.
Right.
In fact, I've been on almost every media house in Ghana for the past few, days, and I've seen my colleagues also doing similar things. Everybody being interviewed on this and picking opinions and all of that. But the point is that, and the sensitization automatically swings in when we move on from this stage to the next stage. Because this stage is more, to buy political will, first of all. Once the political will is gained, remember, we attempted amending, which was a very simple amendment. The MMDCs, for them to vote.
Yeah.
And a president got mad, he got angry one day, he decided that he stops the entire process. Process that has started with a lot of monies and everything gone in. Just a week or so to the elections, president says he's angry. And you could see the demeanor on live TV.
But
how angry. My point is that you don't take these decisions with emotions.
Fine.
That's my whole point.
I get that. But Justice, don't you think that this report can suffer a similar fate? That when within the next 6 months the conversation starts and Ghanaians get to know that these are the recommendations by a section, not every Ghanaian, but a section of Ghanaians. Now, if another group of Ghanaians decide to fight some of those recommendations, where will that leave the executive arm of government that's supposed to be overseeing the successful implementation of some of these recommendations? Remember that the president himself has said that he will draft members of the review committee into the implementation committee. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
So I don't know whether this report can suffer a similar fate, because it looks like not every Ghanaian has come to terms with exactly what some Ghanaians are proposing, as the way forward for our constitution. Do you get a point?
I do get your point. But a direct response to that is that, first of all, you can never have everybody participating in this.
Right.
In fact, even I didn't want to go into the constitution, but if you go by the constitution, you only need majority.
Good. Do you know why I'm saying this?
Yes.
The NPP has set up a committee,
right,
to review the work of the
reviewed committee.
Good, of the review committee. That's interesting. Can you imagine if the NPP says we are for this but we're against this? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
Just like it happened with the MMDCs.
But that would not be a basis for. Okay, so you see,
for us to justice in the process.
Yes. See, that's why I didn't want us to go back to the MMDCs, because that was an emotional decision rather than an intelligent decision. Because you had a president who had a position that everybody must buy into it before we proceed. That cannot be.
No, but you also need the support of the NDC for such a major referendum.
You need a support.
It was an entrenched clause.
No, you need a support.
Yes.
But that support cannot be a basis for you to say that let's abandon the whole thing. You can't throw away the baby together with the bad water.
Whether the MP wanted it, whether the NDC wanted it or not?
No. See, there were two issues on the table.
Yes.
The first one was either to elect them purely on partisan basis.
Okay, purely on partisan basis. Hold on with that. I beg you. Hold on with that. We have to sell. You're watching Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. Please don't go anywhere.
Start your Kids Day the right way, filled with confidence to take on any challenge. Pepsodent Kids contains the right amount of fluoride and sugar acid protection to care for their developing gums and teeth. Grab either orange or strawberry so they brush with the sweet flavor they love morning and evening. Pepsodent Kids, giving your children a bright smile for a brighter future.
Are you a headmaster, headmistress, parent, teacher, or an educator looking for high-quality textbooks for preschool, primary, and junior high school students? Look no further than Advocate Publishing Company. Advocate Publishing Company is a leading publisher of educational materials in Ghana that publishes very engaging, interactive, and comprehensive textbooks that meet the needs of students, teachers, and parents. Our textbooks are thoroughly published to make learning fun and easy. They are also designed to stimulate critical thinking, problem solving, and creativity in students. Make Advocate Publishing your preferred choice for all your educational needs. Explore our range of textbooks and educational resources. Visit us at the old GNTC yard near Kingsway, Accra. You can contact us on 0503 786 776 or 02408 06354. Also 0531 600 360, and connect with us on Instagram, X, and Facebook at Advo Publishing. Don't settle for less. Choose the best. Advocate Publishing Company, empowering young minds one textbook at a time. Thinking Publishing, think Advocate Publishing.
Ebusiafo ye mama kwaba eba Children's Palace. Nkwala nyema nyina fie enyi. Yonkwala ntade mani mema nyina ntare nyina wase. Yonkwala shoes, yonkwala duane, yonkwala wipes, yonkwala diapers, yonkwala toys, baby cot. In fact, bibia opama o manyina obenye biwa ase.
Located at East Legon Hills, Nana Chrome KFC. Contact us on 059 6377 172. Children's Palace. Happy children, happy fashion. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Ama. Nansi mi jeno wo bin enko ye kra o amama ye bohu se kontomra akija
Nansi me hu se me nyo basima kra amma me kunu ni me into kwankwa oyiwa enye mo ko give us GC lecture and the capsules aye numbom enho asem na mo kana ebua emma ene mema nyina na ma wo ba ye obesima na be ma so aye bemasima ya we the bwanku ama ne giant sa wo de hye ne botum na wanyinya na nim tisese ne oyi chokwa
Give us GC mixture and capsule. Achesa.
A painful about one more menu for one kwada when you feel to me.
Yes, next. Hey, Nadia Benson.
Me didn't tontum. Mr. Friendly Calico, just call me cockroach.
Now, Mr. Friendly once now.
Hey, that's a new. Improve car. Yeah. Captain Mosquito, double the accent. Me did it, Sasso spray. Mr. Friendly Sasso quell. Yeah, go to my Sasso.
Come tom preko.
You're live in Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. My name is Aldo Moro, special edition. In fact, it's the final show for 2025. And so we have carefully invited some, Ghanaians to comment or to express their opinion on the work of the HK Prempeh Constitution Review Committee's work. It's about the Constitution. I mean, we want to make it better. Basically, that's what it is. And we've kick-started with the conversation. In fact, the first question that I asked was whether indeed, is there anything wrong with this Constitution? What is the mischief that we're trying to cure? What is the defect that we're trying to fix? And my guests have been weighing in on that. I'm here with Edgar Redo, who is an insurance marketer and a very passionate Ghanaian. Justice Abdullahi is a private legal practitioner, also a law lecturer, UPSA. And then also Mr. Vincent Lecha Kobla Jokoto. He's a youth activist and also a solicitor and a businessman. He's an entrepreneur, let me put it that way. Shortly, we'll be joined by Kwesi Botre. Kwesi Botre Jr. is also a private legal practitioner, another young man, so 2 young men and 2 older guys. He works at the office of the former Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and also he is also a private legal practitioner. He'll be joining us at some point. Now, we're trying to do this as non-partisan as we can, because it's about the Constitution. If it works for all of us. If it doesn't work for all of us. Anyway, so you were trying to tell me the difference between the debates at the time about whether we should be electing our MMDCs or not, and that's when I asked if we should take a break.
So my point was that at the time, what was on the table was whether we voted the MMDs on the basis of their political affiliations.
Yes.
In other words, being open about it, or to do or otherwise. This was as simple as that. Vote for them.
Should we allow any Ghanaian living anywhere to participate?
Simply put,
it has to be along the same MPP,
NDC line.
CDP,
Simple.
and so on. Yes.
So allow the political party to sponsor a candidate, or not. Now, this was clearly the president's position was to allow partisan elections of MMDs. This was not what the review committee recommended. And so naturally the NDC opposed this. And simply on the basis of this opposition, the president came out so emotional, angrily declaring that we were not going ahead with the elections. Why? Because he didn't have the buy-in of the NDC. And so he didn't think that...
felt he meant well, and yet people were reading all kinds of suspicions into it. And so yes, if you don't want it, get out.
Yeah, but this, if you were going ahead with this on the basis of the Constitution Review Commission's report, then this was not right.
Okay.
In fact, even Professor Mills' white paper was also criticized because it was also wrong.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember, Professor Mills' white paper on the same subject was that he was going to allow the elections to be done, except that he was going to determine who stood in that election. Yeah. And so the public, what's it called? So there will be 3 recommendations. Those 3 recommendations would be the candidates to be forwarded to him as a president. In fact, sorry, let me put it better. So he was going to allow these 3 people to then contest for the election.
Yes.
And it didn't sound, well. It's more or less like giving us with the right hand and taking it back with the left. Yeah. Because how can you determine who goes into that election? It didn't sound well. So when you came and you felt that popular participation was a thing to be, which everybody accepted, but we wanted it such that no political party was going to sponsor anyone. When I say we, that was the general feeling of the Ghanaian, that everybody be allowed to participate, and not necessarily an MPP and NDC, because we didn't want to descend into the gutters further down. Already the top was murkier. So why do you want to do the same thing, at the bottom of the pit?
Because it's not realistic, Justice Abdullahi.
Even if it was
let's not play the ostrich. Look at what
it is better for us to pretend to, it is better that we vote for people knowing that they are not NDC and MPP. Even if they are MPP and NDC privately.
Yes.
We understand because we know that everybody votes.
All right. We've gone past.
So, but anyway, we've gone past that stage. So my point was that my whole point is this: at every point in time, there are 2 or multiple options on the table for us to choose from.
Yes.
And so, on the basis of that, I do not see how, if we put all those on the table for Ghanaians to choose who they wanted, rather than a president determining it, as happened in Akufo-Addo's time, we were likely to move ahead with this and also get the popular participation of Ghanaians choosing whether, for instance, to go for 4-year term, 5-year term, or 7-year term, because this will be on the ticket for everybody to choose, to take which one you want. If you want to go for 5 years, you choose 5 years. The Electoral Commission at the end of the day will determine whether the 5 years have won or the 10 years have won. This is how it goes. You leave us to make that choice. Don't decide for us and still call us names. That's my whole point.
Edgar, you've looked at the documents, you looked at the recommendations. Which of them do you find very interesting that you want to have your say on?
Well, before I come to that,
okay,
I haven't had that full 24/7 look at the document.
Right.
But of course, I've gone through a few, and then let me address one or two issues that you raised, my brother.
Or whether do we even need it at all?
Let's address it. So here, the committee recommends the introduction of an article establishing citizens-initiated constitutional amendments.
So that's what I talked about earlier.
Yeah. Okay. Amendment mechanism under which a proposed amendment may be initiated by citizens upon the endorsement of whatever. So here, that issue, Kwaku Aza's issue, is coming in here. Number two, the Kwaku Aza's issue is a typical example of what Justice addressed. The president initiates something. He's not comfortable with it, and
he stops it.
But then if you had a structured body responsible for such things, if the president is not happy about it, he cannot stop it. It will go through the process.
Absolutely.
You get it? All right. And then let me address my brother's issue here too. The committee also recommends that Parliament be mandated to enact legislation to embed mandatory public participation in the amendment of non-entrenched provisions by requiring public consultations between the first and second Gazette publication, structured opportunities for citizens and stakeholders to submit views during and after Council of State's review. So the sensitization you're talking about, the public participation, everybody, you are going to be giving, the Parliament is going to make it mandatory for every citizen to have access to speak to these recommendations. So, just as Justice said, this is the first step. The recommendation has come. It is now going to go through government's white paper, and then all the other processes will. So every single item here, the public will have their stay on it. You get it?
Okay.
So it is not cast in stone like
Absolutely.
it is. The public will have their, whatever. Now, the another important thing
what
that
it means,
Yes.
what it means is that some of these recommendations may be jettisoned.
will be subject to the approval
Actually,
of the public.
The public has to accept it before.
The public will have to accept it.
Yeah, but it's the same public that said this is what they want.
No, listen, no. Just as you rightly said, they met selected people. They didn't meet the Ghanaian public.
True.
So we are talking about maximum about 50,000 people that were met.
You see, they met
Maximum
the people,
50,000 people.
and then they collected views and all that, and based on all the data that was made available to them, they came out with this document. Right. Now, this document has been made. It is now coming to be put to the people, the citizens. We own the Constitution. So now the citizens, the committee has done its work. They've made their recommendations. What do you people think? Article 1. So, like the way the bills are read in Parliament when they are, passing these laws.
Yes.
You read line by line, and then you go on that. So that is what is going to happen.
Okay.
So it is not a problem at all.
All right.
But then there's another important point that my brother raised about trying to bring looking at the 1960 Constitution, looking at the 69 Constitution, the 79, the 90. Yes, it's true. A lot of people have made a noise about the 92 Constitution to the effect that it was done for Rawlings and all that. But basically, if you go through the Constitution, you see that about 80 to 90% of what we have in this current Constitution is a carryover from the previous constitutions. Okay?
I said 70 to 80. You have added.
Yeah, a lot. It's only amendments, as he rightly said, because it's an evolving system. You know, things change and what have you. So language will change here. You add some one or two things here and all that. And for instance, one of the things that you saw in the transitional provisions like this, it has been through the 69 Constitution, the 79 Constitution, and they found its way in the 92 Constitution. Yeah. So it was not something that was made for Rawlings. True. It's a carryover thing that, you know, got in down there. But another important thing that Justice also made, which, you see, during the 92 Constitution, when the Consultative Assembly was in place, or when it was being structured or formed, it was not like a group of people decided to stay away, like the Ghana Bar Association. You know, they gave reasons. And you see, as in your presentation, you said, look, this is a legal document. And that was the argument that they were making, that this is a legal document, the law of the land. Why do you give the Ghana Bar Association one representative? And then you give the National House of Chiefs 10 representatives.
So basically, they felt hugely underrepresented.
Yes. So you see, we must put it in context, understand. So it is not like as if some people felt that.
As in principle, they were against it. No.
They were against it. Yeah. And no, that was not it. The argument was, this is the law. And then the body representing law, you say only one person should come. Mm. And then you are giving other people 10 seats, 5 seats, this and that. So that was the basis for the boycott.
That's a very, very petty basis for boycotting an entire constitution.
Well, but that is the basis. That it is not that we didn't want the constitution or we are against the constitution. They said we needed more representation.
Yes.
So because it's a legal document, so we need more representation. You need more lawyers on the committee. That was the basis.
It's important.
You know,
so it is not clarity is brought to bear.
So it is not like they abandoned it because they felt it was, as somebody would say, choba, whatever. No, they had reasons for that.
Right.
Yeah. Now you see, one of the things that I see here, right, is that. I think the main issue is the glamoring. You know, there are some smoldering issues here and there. People felt that the president is too powerful so far as the constitution is concerned, and therefore, you know, some powers needed to be taken away from him. And there's one particular statement that I enjoy listening to from H.K. Prempeh. You know, he says what? For any good thing to happen, the president has to say it. For any bad thing to stop, it's the president that has to say it. We need to move away from that. And then, you know, so yes, to some large extent, you can see that what they have done here, they've tried to, you know, create some one or two things, but I still think that some powers that are given to the president in these things, they must remove them.
Okay.
You know, they must remove them. I mean, if, for instance, you have the police council, you have the prisons council, you have the armed forces and what have you. And then the constitution says that a representative from the Ghana Bar Association. Why do you say that power should be given to the president for him to choose a lawyer? I don't think it's necessary. It's not. I mean, we want the president to stay somewhere and work. We don't want him involved in everything, and then he does what he likes. So he can come and say, because I'm the president, I veto this. I don't want it. And then no, I think you see those powers. We say we want to limit the powers of the president. So why go give him more powers? Right?
The review has taken care of it as well.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Exactly,
the review here.
exactly.
Yeah, because the review here is what they are talking about. That the provisions currently that the Bar Association should nominate representation to certain bodies, the review is saying that that power to the Ghana Bar Association should be removed and given to the president.
No, so this is what they did. I mean, I think they made it. They classified them into three general institutions. Institutions that have quasi-executive functions and those that do not, and then the hybrid ones. So their position was that when you put this in perspective, those that have some sort of executive influence allow the president to have a say in who becomes the head. Those that do not, let those institutions, because it's difficult at this point to say that, I mean, I think it would be too sweeping to say that, okay, police council, elect your own IGP or your own judiciary, elect your own CJ.
Chief Justice, yeah.
So because of that, they say that, okay, let's put them into three categories. Those that do not have anything to do with the executive.
Just a minute. Let me just go something.
Yes.
Under 8.7, right?
Yes.
The committee recommends amendment to Article 201 and 204 of the Constitution to recalculate police governance structure, to strengthen institutional independence, reduce executive dominance, and enhance public confidence in the impartial governance of the police service as follows. Then you come and say the committee recommends amending Article 201 on the composition of the police council to replace the representative nominated by the Ghana Bar Association with a senior lawyer nominated by the president.
Okay, I can understand that part.
No, I'm making a point.
Yes.
Ahead of you, you are saying you want to reduce that dominance, that executive thing. And there is a representative who has to be nominated by the Ghana Bar. And you say that you should leave that.
That's a fine point.
And then let the president come and nominate.
We're not devolving the executive if we're taking.
So what are you talking about? You want to reduce that thing, and then meanwhile you are saying that the authority or power given to some other person, remove it from that person and give it to the president. I mean, I don't get it.
No, I get it. I mean, there's some inconsistency.
certainly need to go.
There's some inconsistency. You are either reducing or adding.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The whole work appears, in fact, not appear. The whole work reduces the influence of the president in constitutional and administrative bodies.
Right.
But these tiny ones reduces
tiny justice. Wait a minute. Look, let me tell something. Let me tell something here. The security service, right? We all have seen things that have happened,
the abuses,
and all that, to the extent that today someone thinks that I am close to power, and therefore I can disturb the whole nation with my V8, put on a siren, and the policeman cannot stop him. And it is all because of this kind of powers that people think they have.
I think
so let's get some of these things clear. That you think, if we want these bodies to work for the benefit of the citizens, let's remove any presidential influence.
I fully agree.
So that if the president's son messes up, the police can arrest him.
But Mr. Redu, I think you've highlighted the tragedy of the Fourth Republic, which is our inherent lack of confidence in these institutions to perform in a non-partisan manner. I think the whole...
I don't think it's a lack of confidence, though. I think it's the overbearing influence of the executive
on these institutions.
Yes, but that automatically, for the ordinary man, is lack of confidence.
We must exercise...
Because the executive...
Yeah, that's it. The ordinary man in the street.
No, I don't think, you know what, Edgar?
I think we are speaking the same language from different angles.
I don't think Justice Abdullahi and Vincent Jokoto are saying two different things. It's just a matter of semantics. He talks about lack of confidence. He says, yes, I agree there's lack of confidence.
But it is caused because of this.
Executive influence.
And that is what I'm saying.
We would not have an issue with the Fourth Republic if we were more objective.
Absolutely.
Everything is about the ordinary citizen, how the ordinary citizen feels in the country.
I agree.
Yeah.
So if whatever is being done there kills the confidence of the ordinary man in his country, that is what you must be interested in.
And that is wrong. So we need to change that.
Exactly. Yes. You see, that is what must be interested.
I'm hopeful that the proposition with regards to how the security services, where the security apparatus is structured, as you just said, would bring back that confidence that you're talking about?
No, you see, what happens is that when the public gets to know that there is no executive influence, there's no executive control, and then those who are there are professionals doing their job, that is when you lift that confidence. So the man knows that as I'm going there, I'm going to get justice. Things are going to work well. You see? So the whole issue is let executives sit their governance, move the country forward. All other institutions that have specific jobs to do, perform, appoint, do your job, regardless of who is there.
Okay, so which other issue do you have? Because I would allow you to do 2, and then I'll go around the table.
Oh, a lot. Okay, and I think that, you see, one of the main issues that has brought about all these constitutional issues and has to do with the last bastion, the last hope that the ordinary man has, which is always turned down. That is the judiciary.
Okay.
Okay. And I think that what I see here has not addressed the point.
Tell me why.
Look, my brother, all the cases in court, or the cases that goes to court, where do you see the public interest? The public interest is always on political cases. And because of the way the system has been polarized, you see the two main giants with them, their party supporters and what have you, in there. And this is why the judiciary has been bastardized to the extent that so many loving judges have lost their respect. Okay? I was thinking that the committee was going to do a work that would take away that Supreme Court issue and probably create a different Supreme Court. Let the normal Supreme Court work, and then let's have a different Supreme Court which will deal with these political cases. You get it? Because you see, any judge sitting today in the Supreme Court, whatever case that comes before you, be it political, you'll be tagged.
Well, that's true.
You'll be tagged.
People dig into your background.
And it's not healthy for the images of the judiciary and the individual judges themselves, regardless of the fact that they may be speaking the law.
And you're saying that your solution to this...
I was expecting that we would have created a totally separate court to deal with political cases, and that is all that their job is. Deal with political cases.
Why can't we
how do we appoint those judges who are going to look into those political cases?
We can always find a way of appointing. After all, the committee has recommended how judges should be appointed now.
Yes.
Now, the president hasn't got a say in any of the appointments.
Right.
The appointments are done, or the recommendations are done and forwarded to him based on what the committee has done now.
I think it's a great lack of confidence in our human resource as a republic, and even more detrimental in the quality of our citizenship or our citizenry. Because what I'm hearing my senior brother here saying is we can't vouch for the integrity of some of our most astute lawyers who are holding positions on the bench.
That's the reality, and I'm saying that, you see, save them from that, and let's give that authority power to some people.
They will be subjected to the same
but
level
then it
of
will be
scrutiny.
different, you see, because what happens is this, that the judiciary stands on its own, and then this one is also standing on its own for whatever case. Like, you see, there is something known as the doctrine of the political question, or something. I think Justice, you see, and like you go to some of these advanced places, some of these cases, they don't go to the normal court.
There's a constitutional court.
You see, let that court deal with that matter, and let the normal court run its own, business. And then, as I said, the images and the integrity and then of our judges is then uplifted, recognized, respected. Because as it stands today, and even the other point of, as you say, you are capping the Supreme Court, I don't agree to that. I don't see why you should cap it. It is all because of these political cases. That is why we think we should cap the Supreme Court. We don't need to cap the Supreme Court. My brother, what is wrong if we draw some lines in Ghana and say we have, what do we call it, the Northern Belt, we have the Middle Belt, and then we have the Central Belt? Why should somebody run from Sandema to Accra to the Supreme Court? Can't we create a Supreme Court for the Northern sector? Can't we create some for the Middle sector and then the Southern sector? Why should we cap it at 15 judges? You see, if we want to insulate the politics, let's give the political thing to some people. Let them deal with it. And let the ordinary man in the street receive justice. Look, let me tell you something here. Someone has a case in court as far back as 2006. This case went through the various stages and was disposed of in 2020. Do you know the number of people who have cases in court that have died and their cases were not addressed and all that? If we need more judges in the system, and interestingly, the committee recognizes that as population is growing, you see, as population is growing, it counts with all other things. You have more litigants. You have people who think they are not satisfied with things, they want to go to court. You are sitting here, and I understand that a judge in Adenta has over 1,000 cases. When is he going to dispose of the 1,000 cases? And it's not just that the 1,000 cases are there. By the day, new ones are coming.
No, so is it that you're saying that we need more courts?
Exactly.
Or you think that we need more judges at the Supreme Court?
As I said, we cannot have 15 judges in the Supreme Court. And you expect that somebody from Sandema, because he's got a case in Supreme, he should travel all the way to Accra.
I see.
Right?
So decentralize it.
Yes, give them, let's have some more judges around the area, because you see, don't forget that dictum of justice delayed is justice denied. And as I said, there are quite a number of people whose cases have been running in court for years. They've died because of the same backlog of cases. And we are also talking of quality judgment.
Okay.
So then what happens if they have few cases in front of them, they can deal with the matter that when the judgment comes out, everybody reads it and says, my brother, this one is good.
All right.
But there's a problem here. There's a difference between the law and what justice is all about.
Right.
So if the law, as is being made, is not going to end in justice, then we have to look at it. Because this is the law. You see, there's a law and there's justice. The law is supposed to bring about justice.
Right.
This is the law. And we are asking, is this law going to bring about justice? I don't think so. Because so many things here, right? Look, let me tell you something here. There is, this thing is normally used in the criminal, justice, but we can bring it straight into the civil side, right? What is known as the Blackstone ratio, okay? The Blackstone ratio of 10:1, all right? It takes its root from the Bible, Genesis chapter 18, going down there. When God wanted to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, okay? And then Abraham was pleading with God that if you find 50 people who are innocent, would you destroy? God said you cannot destroy the innocent with the wicked. But I tell you, you won't get 50 people. Then Abraham went down to 10. And God said, if there are 10 innocent people in that city, I will not destroy the city. So even if there are 1 million people there, and there are 10 who are innocent, I will not destroy them. But I tell you, you will not find 10 innocent people there. Okay? That brings about the Blackstone ratio of 10:1. where they say it's better to allow 10 people escape jail than to jail an innocent person, right? So this is, as I said, you find it more in the criminal law system. But we can bring it into the civil system too. An innocent man whose property is being taken away from him, right? And he has to battle this in court for 15 years. And the case is still in court. The next thing you hear, the man is dead. Is that justice? And it's all as a result of so many cases that a judge has. So today he sits on this one for 45 minutes, adjourned to so and so. Next case. It goes on and on and on.
I handled the case for 32 years. I inherited it.
Look at this.
And it took me 10 years to complete it.
So your microphone was off.
Look at
the case. So I inherited a case that had lived for about 20 years, and it took me 10 good years to complete it. And guess what?
Unbelievable.
And by the time we were done, and it was the same land issue. By the time we were done, more than 60% of the tenancy of my client was gone. And so they had the land, yet they could not build nor sell. So they had won the matter, but it was a wasteful victory because nobody would want to buy the land because I think it was left about 13 years on their tenancy, on their lease. And so, and if they build, the same problem comes because the owners, the chiefs, will come for a renewal. And the renewal will be more than the property you put on it.
So a very quick bite.
Because I mean, in that area,
our system is bad.
So these are some of the and you see there again, you see
that we have. I'll come back to you.
Okay,
I'll come back to you. But Vincent, instead of latching onto what you said, because you also have some aspects of the commendation, and because we don't have a lot of time, time is my best friend. So I'd rather you pick on your two.
Exactly.
What are your two picks that you want to comment on?
There's one I like.
Let me just say that what your other colleague on the other side, Kwesi Botwe Jr. is also here. Now, Kwesi Botwe Jr. is also a private legal practitioner. He's an aide to the former Vice President, Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia. Kwesi, good to see you. How are you?
Good to be here.
Yeah, compliment of the season. And I hope you're doing very well. Fantastic.
On my way, I was actually enjoying the discussion.
That's good.
I'm quite confident Mr. Botwe and his colleagues will be excited by this Constitutional Review Committee, given the fact that it has the potential to erase the abysmal memory that the Ghanaian people have of his flag bearer hopeful. But going on to the main point, there's a great.
I know. I think
I have noted it.
You take a judicial note.
Yeah, I'm taking
all is fair in love and war. So, as young people, I think there's something we can be excited about. Which is the fact that the old guard, for the first time, given the fact that we've had a very sober democracy over 3 decades, has reached a point where they believe the younger generation is wise enough to assume authority and actually to wield power and start making some of these important decisions. So I think the reduction of the presidential age limit has sent shocks down the spines of many young people. What it has indicated is that there's time for generational change. And if it goes through, if it does become law, that when you are 30, you can contest for the highest position in the country, I think what it does is it tweaks the sense of responsibility of young people. And for lack of better words, it could be more or less a genesis of a youth-led democratic coup, right? In terms of refreshing the old guard and giving a lot of the wise people who have led this country for so long a very peaceful retirement and telling them that, you know what, it's time to get behind young people, to pull those strings, and to leave the political faith of the country in a new generation. So I think that's the recommendation I'm most excited about. Indeed, this is something I'd written about, in 2019.
Yes,
it was published by the Daily Searchlight at the time. I think I was a young solicitor. I just moved to Ghana at the time, trying to find my feet.
Right.
And it was something I realized was extremely important because the majority of our population fall under this age, and psychologically, because of the fact that we haven't been giving that sense of responsibility to determine our future at the highest level, we've always played the position of pawns. But now the chessboard is changing. and
not too fast.
Well, it will take a while, but I think you can't undermine how.
If I may, right?
Of course.
Over the weekend, I think I had some good commendations and also backlash when I insisted that the age limit rather be reduced further to 21.
Boy.
I saw that. I saw your comments. I was
my brother. Is it just to occupy the paper or something? Actually, to put some ink on the paper? Anyway, that was just by the by. It was just by the by.
So my point really reinforces his position, right? And my point has been this. Remember, the age limit to Parliament is 21. Now, if a 21-year-old can make a law for you, why can't you accept a 21 to be a president?
18 years you can vote.
Yeah, not voting. We're talking about going to Parliament.
But then if you can vote 18 years,
then
you can
also
vote.
Be allowed
Then we can stretch arguments like that.
I agree, but that's not my argument.
No, I'm just making a point.
Question. Yes. My argument really is this. As my brother mentioned, the youth form the larger part of this population.
Yeah.
We have had the over 40 years leading this country literally to ditch. We have not had any benefit, any concrete benefit from the 40 and above years. So if it is time for us to reduce the age limit, why don't we look at the smart guy? Remember, a 20-year-old who would contest for a president would have distinguished himself to even be able to put himself out there.
Not to cut you short, but then I think
impossible.
Yeah, no, not to cut you short, but I think some of these.
You've taken Vincent's time.
I just want to because of the point. I'll get back. I'll make him that. Some of these comments.
Because it's complementary to his
No, some of these comments, right? Yes. I would appreciate that if we have the deliberations, if we are privy to the deliberations, the debate that the committee had before coming up with such a recommendation, it will help us understand the position better.
That's a fair point.
Yes, you see.
That's a fair point.
Yeah. So there are some of these.
The interesting thing is that the very argument I advanced for the 21 are the same argument the committee chair advances for the 30.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you see,
the same argument. Because
at 21
does not automatically make you a president.
Yeah.
You still have to be voted for. In other words, by the time each of us decide to vote for you, a 21-year-old, you clearly would have distinguished yourself to attract that kind of vote.
Right.
Ordinarily, no 21-year-old would put himself up for the position of a president unless he believes that he deserves it. And you will never vote for that person, even if he deserves it, unless you also trust in his abilities. So the argument that came up against this suggestion were about maturity and experience. And my question is, the experience and the maturity of our entire from independent to date, what has it gotten us to? Where has it gotten us to?
Okay.
So answer
that question.
You're on the floor.
Where has the experience and maturity of all those who have led us from 1960?
So maybe it's time to give the youth a chance.
It's also I think it's also a reflection of the intellectual deafness of young people. Having been given the opportunity to perform in mainstream Ghanaian politics, a lot of gems have been discovered. I think the old guard have gotten to a point where they're saying, let's give younger people a chance to actually take the steering wheel. It will take a number of decades, or a decade at least, before we see this kind of phenomenon manifest in Ghanaian politics of a young person taking over the entire country. It's not totally out of question, but it's an opportunity for young people across both parties to take a second look at the politics we do. Are we doing politics for entertainment, or are we doing things on a rational basis? Are we trying to solve problems in the future? Are we inheriting the culture of our past, which hasn't necessarily helped us in the advancement of our economic development? Are we leaving the propaganda aside and dealing with the facts that matter? So there's an old style of politics that I believe is fading. The politics of insults, the politics of sensationalism. Now we're getting more into the facts. And I think there's a new crop of leaders who are about to emerge onto the national scene. And this is what that law is for. I don't think, there's a little point my brother made earlier when he was describing some of the flaws of the Constitution. And I realized that perhaps this committee recommendations have been a little bit reactionary. If you look at the Supreme Court, for instance, the public sentiment largely was that we had a head of state who was manipulating the judicial process. Whether there's evidence for that or not is a whole different matter, but largely that was the public sentiment. Right. Now, it appears the resolve or the solution for that has been to limit numbers. But we must remember that the Constitution is about the mass of our people, and this is something that Social Democrats wholeheartedly believe in. The politics must begin from the bottom up. When you look at the presidential age limit, the minority of our country are the ones who are above 30. The majority are below 30. So it's not really about the age and experience and the maturity, but it's really looking at our demographic and saying, these are the facts of the matter. These are the majority of people who run the country, and they determine the future, and they deserve to exercise the authority. You can't have a minority deciding for everybody else. So I think...
So you're making a point for my 21 then?
Absolutely. I only disagree with you to the point where I think giving our educational system what life has taught us, coming of age at 18, it's very difficult to build a track record to run a country in 4 years. But if for some strange reason, being a very religious country, there's somebody who sweeps us off his feet and is able to attain that, that's something we wouldn't frown against. But if we've been able to progressively drop the age by 10 years, I'm sure at some point in time,
we come to the 21.
Revisit that question, yes.
But there's some people who are still not convinced that young people are ready to lead.
Well, I think that's a very flawed argument. If you look at the independence movement, you look at Komla Bedema leaving the Convention Youth Organization and forming the CPP with Nkrumah, without which Nkrumah would not have been able to win that election. So there's clearly a young person in there. You look at the mentor of some of our young people here, Nana Akufo-Addo. He was General Secretary for the Popular Movement of Freedom and Justice at a very young age with Samuel Okudzeto too. There are many examples of young people having played prominent roles throughout our history. What I believe we must take from this is that the ones who are orchestrating the politics do not necessarily need to play a frontline role all the time. Right. We need to clean up the image of Ghanaian politics, and that's where young people come in. A lot of the things that are supposed to happen behind the scenes are happening in front of the camera. There's a need to renew the brand or the belief in Ghanaian politics. I think rhetoric really matters as far as that's concerned. So launching a lot more young faces, launching a lot more youthful, intellectually gifted people into the public scene is extremely important. But the old people need to fundamentally understand that we must take a seat back. We've had the oldest president our republic has ever had. We've had the worst performance of any president in the Fourth Republic. So we know we can't equate age to performance. And this is not coming from a partisan perspective. This is just what history would record, But to wrap up my point,
oh my goodness.
To wrap up my point.
I don't know where Vincent came from this morning, but I think you don't have to go back to that bit.
To wrap up my point, we totally welcome this new confidence in young people, and I would be advocating, I'm sure my brother Kwesi Bosho, all the young people will be advocating for this particular law to go through. It signals a new fresh start for Ghanaian politics, and any forward-thinking Ghanaian would support this, regardless of their views.
So that's one pick. Is that it?
Yes, please.
This is what for you.
That's the one I'm focusing on. Yeah.
Kwesi, I'm sure you looked at the documents. Which of the recommendations do you find are interesting, exciting? Do you find maybe problematic? What do you make of these recommendations? So I gave the other members on the bench the opportunity to pick two, and then analyze it. Which ones do you intend to look at?
Thank you very much, and good morning to colleagues on the panel. To start with, I think that I'll start by commending the committee for a very good job done. I think the committee has done very well. It's been over 5 months of touring the country.
Actually, 11 months.
11 months.
Yes. I think everybody was inaugurated in January.
In January, okay. Yeah. I think they've done a very good job to put together such a comprehensive document. And so I'll start by commending all of them, led by Professor Prempeh. They've done a very good job. However, I have some challenges with the report. My first challenge has to do with the fact that Professor Prempeh concedes that they engaged only 10 regions or persons in 10 regions. And I think that this is a constitution that affects entire citizenry. It affects everybody in this country, from birth till you die. And so if we intend to amend critical portions of the Constitution, I think that it is only fair that we engage, at least majority of stakeholders. I have seen the list of people the committee engaged, and I think that the engagement, wasn't exhaustive. Okay. I think the committee could have done better, but Professor raises the issue of finances. It means we have to interrogate the issues properly. That if we are a country that after so many years of practicing, constitutional democracy with our 1992 constitution, which is not perfect, but has served us well, arguably has safeguarded the longest republic of this country. I think that consultations ought to have been, deeper if we intend to amend portions of our constitution. On the matter of finances, in 2011, during the Constitution Review Committee, the monies allocated to the committee was $6 million. And so in 2025, I'm very sure that the monies would be more than $6 million, because even in 2011, the government allocated $6 million to the committee to do its work. Then I'm sure in 2025, it would be more than $6 million. And so we have to interrogate the issues as to why the committee was not able to.
$6 million was just about, the dollar was about 1 point something to the dollar.
Yeah, and it was 1.4.
1.4. And $6 million in 2025. Even if you want to use 10 CD, someday inside.
I agree with you. But I'm only making the point that we know the monies allocated to the committee in 2011. And so in the spirit of transparency, we actually the committee owes the people, the Ghanaian people, a duty of truth or a duty of transparency to disclose the monies that were allocated to them to undertake this exercise. Now that they've started raising concerns about lack of funding or whatsoever, we have to know how much was allocated to the committee, because the 6 regions, we do not know. Probably if they couldn't engage Ashanti region, Greater Accra, Eastern and Central, then it means they didn't engage majority of Ghanaians, because the 10 regions could be excuse my language, the very small regions. And so we have to interrogate
in terms of population.
Absolutely. So we have to interrogate the methodology used by this committee.
Right.
Now, on the recommendations, I find a bit interesting. Of course, because I'm a young person, I'll go with the age requirement. I think it's a bold recommendation, but I agree with Justice Abdullahi that the committee should have reduced the presidential age limit to 21 to allow every young person who believes in himself, who believes he has the needed competence, the needed vision, the needed leadership skills to lead this country, the opportunity to contest. At the end of the day, the decision lies with the majority of Ghanaians. In fact, the decision lies with the people which this constitution was made for. The constitution was made for the people. The constitution belongs to the people. Let's allow the people to elect their leader.
That's the whole point.
And I agree with Justice Abdullahi that
the whole point.
We have tried.
I need some education on this. Is it late for us to factor this in?
What?
Yeah, 21. It's not at all.
It's not late.
It's not at all.
No, but it is not.
Because they actually remain proposals.
So yes, 6 months period.
We've not even started
yet. No, it is not coming. That was I read.
Because I find his, and of course you started it.
Well, it doesn't matter.
I mean, arguments a bit interesting. 21.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
by which time, to all intents and purposes, you have been done with university.
You see, you need not to.
You don't need to be.
It's not a requirement to complete university to be president. Yeah, it's not a requirement.
That's true.
In fact,
even if you're an SS.
You don't even need education, as a matter of fact.
Absolutely.
It's not.
It's not in the constitution.
Education is not the requirement.
We have very liberal views on this matter, because I'm sure we can realistically assess the fact that the average 21 Ghanaian would not have the requisite experience and skills to run the country.
That's why I keep asking the question.
No, the difference.
That's why he's saying that. You.
No, but more, I can tell you, John Ajin
grant that permission.
John Ajin Kufuor was Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs in his late 20s. You have Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa. There are many examples of people.
Ablakwa was in fact, it was in his 30s.
No, exactly.
When he was
member of Parliament.
No, even that.
No. What his late 20s? This is some
2011.
The point I'm making is we have seen
early 30s. Yes,
we have seen a number of people between the age of 30 and 40 make great strides in Ghanaian politics.
Sure.
Make great strides in Ghanaian politics.
Well, I was there too, but I left the children a year before. That's fine.
There are many examples of this. So we know that between the ages of 30 to 40, there's a lot of potential there, and we know there are a number of people who could rise to the highest occasion if given the opportunity. We can't, with the same confidence, say the same for 21-year-olds. But I understand that making a legal argument, not just being liberal, but if we're opening a Pandora's box, we might as well open it fully, right? So then we're arguing from a point of view of your mental capacity, your age, or what makes you legal. But I don't think that the discussion we're having here is
I think, Vincent, in your attempt to support this argument, you are rather taken away from it. Because to say, to make arguments about mental capacity suggests to me that a 21-year-old doesn't
lacks the requisite mental capacity.
I stand corrected.
I know. I think that we the young people will not be happy with you.
It's a completely flawed argument. As a matter
of fact, to think that young people do not have the
requirement. Most 21-year-olds are relatively smarter.
Absolutely.
Relatively smarter than everybody you know.
Well, I think history
would... So you can't even make that argument.
Having some of these tough opinions, right?
See, the issue of maturity, the issue of experience,
doesn't do with age.
All those matters, I mean, you cannot relate them to performance.
I made those points very clearly. I did say...
No, but you see, on one hand, you admit that a 21 is a better option, but at the same time, you tend to undermining the
space. I'm not quite, for the avoidance of doubt, I'm not in any way, shape, or form undermining the capacity of any 21-year-old Ghanaian.
Well, I think you have to be very clear on that.
To play a role as far as mainstream politics is concerned. But why I think history will judge me right and judge you wrong is the fact that, on average, within the next 10 years, history will judge us, right? It would be very difficult to discover a 21-year-old Ghanaian, with the requisite experience and capacity to lead a republic. That is not the same argument for a 30-year-old. If you get what I'm coming from.
When you say experience,
we have never had a 40-year-old president before.
Never.
If you go by
but we accepted the fact that from above the age of 45,
never had one.
But we accept the fact that the pool of Ghanaians within that age limit, above 40, from that pool, we could select a credible candidate. That's a consensus.
Unfortunately, history does not support what you're saying.
You don't think Kwame Nkrumah was a credible candidate? You don't think John Mahama was a credible candidate?
If the moment you start going into specifics, right, you defeat the entire argument. Because we're talking about a population of 35 million. Or 40 million, if you like.
Where the majority are below the age of 30.
The majority are
not the age of... Exactly.
So if you go by making specific argument... Of course, Jerry Rawlings was also 30, thereabout. Yeah. At the time, he was the leader of this country.
Yeah.
And so what? The age necessarily does not make the person who he is. That's the whole point I am making. And so, if you are opening the door for 21-year-olds to take the mantle, when you admit that they indeed form the majority of the population, why do you want to completely sideline the majority of the population? This was your argument earlier.
Well, I think in the grand scheme of politics,
just for the purpose of convenience.
In the grand scheme of politics, just the way it is now, you still
how does experience and maturity
the entire
play a role in the person becoming a good leader?
I think experience does matter. Having real life experience does matter as far as leading a country is concerned.
And he asked a very tangible question, in fact, a very valid question some time back. That if you have never been a president, don't criticize a president because you have no idea what goes on in there, right? Now, does that argument, is it so valid?
Well, I think we need to come back to the basis. We need to come back to the basis. Now, this is what the Ghanaian people are going to decide based on.
I think it was my time.
Let's
so I think you've taken enough of my time. So. And so I think that the presidential age limit should be reduced to 21 years. Again, I agree with Justice Abdullahi that if a 21-year-old can be a member of parliament, and by extension can be a minister of state, can be a defense minister, can be a foreign affairs minister, then that 21-year-old should have the capacity to run the affairs of this country. I also think that it is not a matter of personal life experience. Over the years, we have tried and tested persons who have diverse personal life experiences, and we know where we are as a nation. It's about time to give young people the opportunity. we are in a Gen Z world. I mean, arguably, it is the Gen Zs that run the world now. You cannot do anything and succeed without the support of Gen Zs. You cannot. You cannot. And so it is very important that we acknowledge the reality on the ground.
He doesn't trust it.
The gray is speaking. The gray is speaking.
He's not convinced already. What do you go ahead?
So I think that there are a lot of young people who have what it takes to lead a nation. A lot of them. All what they need is probably the necessary team to run the affairs of this country. And if you become a president, the presidency is not a one-man show. You have your Council of State, you have your cabinet, you have your, President Mahama during his first coming had his 3 wise men. You have a whole team behind you ensuring you do the right thing, ensuring you do not fail. And so if you're a 21-year-old and you have the necessary team, you have the right people ensuring that you make the right decisions, you have the right people at your cabinet, the right people at your Council of State, your right people as your team members, I do not think that you would fail. But again, the decision rests with the Ghanaian people. It is for the Ghanaian people to determine whether or not the 21-year-old has the necessary capacity to lead this country. And so I think that by virtue of the fact that the 21-year-old can be a member of parliament, can be a minister of state, and in fact can be a speaker of parliament, that 21-year-old should also have the capacity to be a member. Absolutely.
A member of cabinet.
Absolutely.
Remember, by virtue of your current constitution, if the person can be your foreign minister or defense minister, literally he determines whether your country subsists or dies.
Yeah. Even a finance minister. Even a finance minister.
That's even worse.
Yeah. And so I think that the young people must be given an opportunity. Must be given an opportunity.
I appreciate why. I mean, Edgar, as forward looking as Edgar is in complete disagreement with this.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily the case. No. Let me just. No. The point he made. I just want. I'm not on different. The same point.
Oh, yes.
You see, it is not about me being. But I think Kwesi makes the point clear that all the plenty talk, whether you are 22 or 45 or you are whatever, the bottom line is the people. That is all.
But that's what we have been saying throughout.
That's what I'm saying. That so regardless of the age, whatever you are putting across, positives and negatives, pros and cons, how people feel about you and whatever, go to the people and ask them to give you the mandate.
That's all.
That's all. So I don't think it's a but the reality on the ground is what I am only just looking at.
And what is the reality?
That how the people.
The reality is that the majority of the people are 21.
Regardless of the fact that regardless of the fact that they are 21, it's not a guarantee that you get their votes. That's all.
Okay.
Well, that's subject.
But if it's not a guarantee, that's why we are saying that.
I think
that's why I say go to the people.
Edgar is making a very interesting point. Even in our homes,
yes,
we tend to think that young people are supposed to be. Young people are supposed to. They are supposed to listen but not talk.
Yeah.
We honestly, in a conservative homes, don't think that young people. There's a cultural problem, and that's where he's coming from. It's just that I'm sure he didn't want to be very direct about it.
Those who are against the 21 is a cultural.
It's a cultural problem.
Go to the people. The people will say we want you or we don't want you. So we don't make so much. We don't make so much grammar on this.
What you fail to recognize?
I'm saying that. Look, you see, we don't need to waste so much grammar justifying or not justifying or whatever. But as I said, the point of the matter is that sell your message. If you sell your message, and then the entire.
But if you're not willing to give the person the opportunity to sell his message,
how does the person sell that?
No, but
if you disqualify the person,
you are making a point. As we said, this is a working document. This is not cast in stone. It's not sacrosanct. Yes. It is now coming to the people.
But Edgar, so if at the end of the day,
at the end of the day, if the 21-year-olds, if they match up to Parliament and they say, Parliament, Massa, this thing, change it. It is the people talking.
Remember, but the 30 years old matter to Parliament for this committee to consider that the age limit should be reduced to 30. No, I think it's unfair for the 21.
Let's get to that bridge. We will cross. I'm not saying you don't have a point. All I'm saying is that even if somebody can decide who becomes the president at age 18, right? At 18, you vote. Yes. You decide who becomes your president. So I don't see why a 21
but at this point
want to stand.
At this
but
point,
the question is,
at this point, the constitution does not allow the 18-year-old to be in parliament. So that's why we stick to the 21.
But I think the point is that you see, we the Gen Zs, we acknowledge the fact that the likes of our senior uncle here, they remain our mentors. They shouldn't be threatened by reducing the presidential age to 20. They remain our mentors. Remain our mentors. They shouldn't be threatened by that.
Confident smile is everything. Kel Charcoal toothpaste keeps me on top of my game and ensures my smile is always radiant and bright.
With the tiring nature of my job, we spend several hours under the scorching sun. To keep our teeth white and our breath fresh all the time, we use none other than Kel Charcoal toothpaste. Kel Charcoal toothpaste. You're on a Kessie and in a kit one.
Samayo Kendini, a who be here, Semetra Sapapadia to a mammy mouthful. Kel Charcoal's natural ingredients, and a bomb is several buying, a man swing, and a sansu mama hotel so a will beg you.
Kel Charcoal toothpaste. Choose Kel Charcoal toothpaste for anti-cavity, whiter teeth, and fresher breath all day. Available in 80 gram and 150 gram. Grab yours today.
Kel. Happy Smile. This advert is FDA approved.
Oh, Jose, and I made the SMS. Cannon pan, Nasana, Michiana, what me. A drain I didn't quano. Kingdom Garlic Bitters. No benefit. Me benefit wine. Also, what told dear? Abrewa, the smile, our brand. Mishuve, one antique crana wabre. No Kingdom Garlic Bitters and in the capsules. Nanya, what ya brebia. Kingdom Garlic Bitters and the capsules. Assembia, a devil when I'm when I say.
Send your name, wife, company one personal. Kingdom Ginseng Power Capsules and tea. Say, see, and pass why.
Kingdom Ginseng Power Capsules. A many genius some dear befi, abrebia. Obebia o de poor how no. Edro bakupa we hear tremendous capsules. Tremendous capsules. Esiesie uma uye obesima. Edno yi ubenya bi obebi ayeton robia. Kingdom Herbal. No challenger.
Wabedum time aso. J. Watch it, na learning. Missy, watch and learn. Makwaya mabesisia. Abozing. Akache say no ya konati and the more drink woman. Hey. But I didn't mean. Oh, sorry. She knew her old days. Eji, Dabio, baby womb. Ready? Hey, baby womb. Ah, Eji, I'll cause some discomfort. Ah. Sorry, well, uncle, where would the dad? Why your funeral?
Say a sorry insecticide GB at a user. For pharmacy in a shop biamu. Namum say a pharmacy supermarket and a shop ra. Na repedudu to a cotonwa. On for Royal Dutch and our Aerofield Trading. FE spray with Daimwa.
In a world where everything is connected, your business's security is only as strong as its weakest link. The growing threat of cybercrime has become an unescapable reality. In 2025 alone, The projected cost of cybercrime is expected to grow to $10 trillion globally, with small-medium businesses disproportionately targeted. Cyber threats have become increasingly sophisticated, widespread, and invisible, placing unequipped organizations at risk of massive damages in a matter of seconds. Meet Virtual InfoSec Africa, Ghana's Tier 1 certified managed security service provider. We don't just monitor threats, we predict, prevent, and respond 24/7. At Virtual InfoSec Africa, we deliver bold and cost-effective cybersecurity solutions tailored to your organization's size and complexity. Whether you're a startup or a national institution, our services scale with your needs. We offer 24/7 SOC monitoring, early warning threat intelligence, managed detection and response, digital forensics and incident response, and predictive analysis and threat hunting. From endpoint protection to dark web forensics, we secure every layer of your digital ecosystem. Why wait for a breach to act? Join the ranks of high institutions who trust Virtual InfoSec Africa to secure their future. Start your 3-month free trial of our early warning threat intelligence platform today. For more inquiries, contact 055-689-2086 or visit our website at www.virtualinfosecafrica.com.
Start your kids' day the right way, filled with confidence to take on any challenge. Pepsodent Kids contains the right amount of fluoride and sugar acid protection to care for their developing gums and teeth. Grab either orange or strawberry so they brush with the sweet flavor they love morning and evening. Pepsodent Kids, giving your children a bright smile for a brighter future.
You're live on Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. My name is Audumoro, and you've heard some voices in the background. That's Justice Abdullahi. He's very passionate about this particular issue, about the appointment of judges and so on, and even the issue of especially the issue of, how do you call it, the age requirement, which has now been dropped, or which is proposed that it be dropped from 40 to 30. We can't seem to agree on what the way forward should be. But let me read these messages before Kwesi you land in, because I don't want you to crash land. So Kojochu Mboafo has sent us some messages. First of all, he says, Moro, we were all in this country when the Dankwabuzia tradition inspired snobbery of the Constituent Assembly occurred. Edgar, please, no post facto rationalization. You've come out of mothballs to obfuscate what we all know. Please go back into hibernation. And he says, Moro, as soon as the MPP are in opposition, we have the Quakers preaching non-partisanship and the need to quell executive power. Between 2016 and 2024, we witnessed some of the worst examples of executive abuse of power. I didn't hear the Quakers then. Do we seriously believe that there is a world in which a president doesn't influence the appointment of the judiciary? Where in the world do the executive not appoint judges? And how do we scrutinize the kind of judicial tyranny we observed under the last administration? That's from Kojochu Mboafo. Kwame Sapon-Asedu, with the CDD, also sends this message. He says that, please, the over 40s have governed Ghana for most of our history. I beg you, how be national development? Lee Kuan Yew became leader at 36 years at the time the GDP of Singapore was the same as Ghana, $500. Now he says, I beg you, how be development for there too? For 61 years out of our 68 years of independence, our leaders have been over 40 years. What is the verdict on that leadership? We still have 80% of our people engaged in open defecation. The age there is no definition of maturity and signs of a good leader, if you ask me. That's Kwame Sapon-Asedu. Now, Edmond says, how can a 21-year-old how can a 21-year-old stand for president when he or she doesn't have a working experience? The 21-year-old person would have just completed university or about to. In Ghana, it takes you about a decade to get jobs after completing university, so let's not rush things. Okay. Now, Dennis Carter from Accra says, good morning. We need to be careful about the age limit as we're encouraging the youth to be part of the national decision processes. It says, I don't accept 21 years to lead a nation, Ghana. It takes a lot to be president when it comes to 21-year-olds. Being a minister or an MP, it doesn't take so much like a president. Now, this one is from Kofi Adoli. One thing I'm very uncomfortable with is the timing of this deafening clamor for cutting down executive power. Apart from Oliver Vomawo, we didn't hear much against the rampaging executive power of the past 8 years. Or is it to say that freedom of speech was suspended? Comes with a question mark. Now, this one here from Shadrach in Accra. It says the military officers who were flagged by the government to go help Jamaica are complaining. According to them, the men there are really working, demolishing buildings, carrying woods, roofing sheets, plus other roles in the bid to help build Jamaica. They claim the care given to them is very poor. Oh, the Jamaicans aren't taking care of them, very proper care of them. Okay, so we'll look into this. We'll investigate this and bring our viewers what actually the state of affairs is. But thank you very much, Shadrach, for sending us this message. And Timothy Goba, apparently Timothy says you are friends with his son. Yes. Wow, he says. Oh, okay. It belongs to his son.
My flagship artist.
Oh, okay. So he says, my regards to lawyer, artist, author Jokoto. You're also an author. You're an artist.
Yes, my book just came out this year.
Okay. He said you're a great man mentoring his son, Kosi Timothy, who is also a media guy and also an artist. Okay, that's fine. Anyway, so these are some of the messages that have come through. Carlos, I'll end with that from Carlos from Ododo. Now, Carlos has a very interesting. Hold on a second. Let me just do this before I come back to Kwesi Botry. So Carlos from Ododo says, good morning. On the issue regarding the MPP press conference yesterday, when should we? Oh, okay. All right. So we're not discussing this at the moment, and so I can hold on with this. Yes, Kwesi. So, easy friends, you try and land on this, and then if there's one other one, you can do that briefly before we continue.
The other one I also want to address the fact that, in fact, let me just say something on the Honorable Kojo Chumbafo's
statement. Okay,
regarding the fact that the NPP snubbed the Constituent Assembly, yes, responsible for drafting the 1992 Constitution. I think this is a perception that a lot of people, but just for the records, Yaw Osafo-Maafo, I don't know if he's a doctor.
No, he's still Yaw Osafo-Maafo, yes. The former finance minister.
Osafo-Maafo disclosed sometime in November 2024 that he was actually a consultant for the assembly, for the consultative assembly. And we all know Osafo-Maafo's, role and participation when it comes to matters of the Dankwa Busia-Dombo tradition. He's a founding member of our tradition, we hold in high esteem. And he was actually a consultant to the consultative assembly of the committee that was responsible for drafting the 1992 Constitution. And so therefore, I do not think that it is entirely accurate for anybody to suggest that the NPP or the Dankwa Busia-Dombo tradition did not participate in the writing of the 1992 Constitution. Okay. Yes, it is true that the Dankwa Busia-Dombo tradition then had some reservations regarding the persons that were put together to draft the Constitution. He also had some reservations regarding some provisions of the Constitution because they felt that there was only a Constitution that Rawlings was doing to suit himself. They had several reservations. However, that does not negate the fact that Yaw Osafo-Maafo, who is a founding member of the tradition, was actually a consultant to the committee. In fact, if the party did not subscribe to Osafo-Maafo being a consultant, they would have, advised him not to take up that role. But he was actually a consultant. And in fact, Yaw Osafo-Maafo makes the point, the categorical point that he actually introduced the point of asset declaration or the provision of asset declaration in the Constitution. And so let's credit the Dankwa Busia-Dombo, let's not create the enormous impression that they snubbed the consultative assembly of the drafting of the Constitution.
To put in perspective, the party as an entity did not partake in it.
Yeah.
So I think that is maybe that is the narrative. But individuals played different roles, but not the party itself.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, at that time, there was no political party.
I agree.
And I've mentioned
there was no political party.
And I've mentioned that majority of members of the Dankwa Abuja Dogbu tradition had issues or reservations with certain propositions and certain provisions of the proposed constitution. They had issues with actually the members of the committee itself. And so they had several issues. But members of the tradition as well were also consultants for the committee or the assembly.
No, but you see, the two are not the same. It is a fact that at the time there was a group of people who, for whatever reason, decided that they didn't want to be part. I mean, as for the reasons you've given all of that, that's fine. But regardless of the reasons that were given, they washed their hands off and said it.
And who were that group?
Now we're talking about the Dankwa Abuja.
That is a mistake.
No, that's what I'm saying, that the tradition.
There was no Dankwa Abuja. There was no political. I just make a clarification here. There was no Dankwa Abuja. Let's be honest. Yes, there was no Dankwa Abuja. You see, the only reason why it is tagged as Dankwa Abuja was because at that time the Ghana Bar Association had Akufo-Addo as the leader, the secretary, and then Okudzeto being the president or something. You see, so and these two are leading members of the NPP. That does not make it a Dankwa Abuja thing.
I agree with you. But
you see, it was standing on the leg of the Ghana Bar Association.
Yes,
it's simple.
Yes,
I mean, don't
the group which later became the Dankwa Abuja, the MPP.
So that is what I'm saying, that whatever it is. So when you are using the word group, use the group in the right context.
No problem. But but you see, the fact remains that there was a boycott. But it's also a fact that there were some members of the group that boycotted it, also helping out with the work. So I think that let's make progress.
It acknowledges by and large that the Fourth Republic came into existence largely as a result of the advocacy of some Ghanaians. I think what he's saying is, to a minor extent, the Dankwa Abuja Dombo tradition played a minor role in sort of helping shape that. But largely, the social democratic tradition is what ushered this Fourth Republic that we've enjoyed for the past three decades. So I quite agree with this point.
Yeah, because let's not litigate over this. I mean, I think you've said the record straight, so that's
also
fine.
the second point I find very interesting.
If you can do it just a few minutes, because we actually have just 10 minutes.
The second point I find very interesting about this.
We're talking 2.5 hours.
About the Constitution Review Committee's report. Is the fact that members of Parliament cannot become ministers of state.
Yes.
And even when members of Parliament relinquish their roles as members of Parliament, they cannot be appointed as ministers.
You find that problematic?
I find that quite interesting. I find that interesting because, you see, the whole rationale behind members of Parliament becoming ministers of state actually has some incidence on our public purse. Because you realize that members of Parliament who are ministers do not benefit from double salaries. They are not paid as members of Parliament at the same time as ministers of state. They only get some small allowances as ministers of state. And so it helps us actually reduce the burden on our public purse. But to promulgate a constitutional provision expressly and stopping members of Parliament who even resign from becoming members of the government or members of the executive or ministers of state, I find that to be quite problematic and quite unpracticable, because we live in a dispensation where, in as much as we preach the doctrine, and I am a firm believer of the principle of separation of powers, but in as much as we preach this principle, the arms of government work interchangeably. You need the legislature to approve the budget of the judiciary. You need the executive to even put the budget of the judiciary together. You need the legislature to pass the policies and programs.
Unfortunately, in this recommendation, the executive have no business in the budget of the judiciary. Everything goes straight to Parliament. In this recommended,
But you see, then it will still take the finance minister to release those monies.
But
and it still comes back to the executive. No matter how you want to isolate the issues, the executive would still have to release monies for the judiciary. The CJ himself cannot go into the consolidated funds to withdraw monies for the operationalization of the judiciary. It has to be done by the finance minister. The judiciary themselves cannot, you know, withdraw monies to pay the staff of the judicial service. It has to come from the finance minister. And so no matter how you put it, the executive has a role to play in the financing of the judiciary. And so the point I'm making is that in as much as we all, you know, preach and advocate for the doctrine of separation of powers, these arms of government works interchangeably. And so it is only fair that you have members of the executive in parliament. I, for one, think that members of the executive who are also members of parliament are in a better position to understand the government policies and programs and to even advocate
the ministerial position or what?
No, no, I do not have, no. But I'm only saying that they are in a better, because you see, you take, for example, the e-levy. Many of us were against the e-levy. But you had members of parliament who were ministers of state who had superior knowledge about why e-levy, why the need for e-levy. And so in parliament, they
did not have any superior knowledge. It was a party's position, and therefore they had to go for it. This is what we want to stop. It was a government position. It was a party position. It was a government position.
It was a government position. No, it was a government position.
So everybody in parliament supported it. Have you seen any MPP man against any position that Akufo-Addo put in government?
Oh yes, there are so many of them. There are so many of them.
On the floor of parliament.
No, there are so many of them. There are so many of them.
They were calling for their president to sack the finance.
There are so many of them. There are so many of them. No, even the then Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, is on record to have said on one of your radio stations, he stated clearly his position on the e-levy. He was clear on his position of the, so it is inaccurate respectfully to say that nobody, you know, once disagreed with the position of President Akufo-Addo. No, there are people who disagree with the position.
Excuse me, my position is very simple. I said on the floor, in the house, did you hear any MPP member speak against? We are not talking about outside the floor.
The was going to happen on the floor of parliament.
Oh, please.
The was going to happen on the floor of parliament. Didn't the majority of the day agree with the minority for the seizure of Ken Ofori-Atta? At the end of the day, were they not all at the committee hearing to interrogate the issues of Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta? So I mean, that happened. But the point I'm making is that it is relatively impracticable for us to have a system where we completely isolate the executive from the legislature and the legislature from the judiciary, and you know, because they commingle, they work together, you know, for the efficient running of the government. And so, Moro, as I learned, I think that this very constitutional let me say proposal, it's a wild one. But again, I concede to the fact that they remain proposals. In fact, in 2011, when the government issued the white paper, they disagreed with almost 70% of the recommendations of the Constitutional Review Committee. And so it is possible that, you know, this current administration is a rebirth of what we had, you know, in the SWAL administration. It is possible that this government will also issue a white paper disagreeing with over 90% of the recommendations of this committee. And so let's wait for the government's position on this very proposal.
There are some people who actually are suggesting that perhaps, or proposing that perhaps the government shouldn't even issue a white paper at all.
I am of the same school of thought that the government should just leave this to the public to determine rather than.
But I also think that the government should issue a white paper. I think that for the purposes of posterity, the position of the government ought to be known, so it doesn't look as if the government. You know, there's a suspicion. There's a suspicion. I'm saying suspicion that the government has a hand in some of these recommendations. For instance, the presidential term limit from 4 years to 5 years, and some other, you know, things. And so the government should issue a white paper for us to know the position of the government on the Constitutional Review Committee.
Okay, all right. So Kwame Sarpong is back, but this time he decides to write what I call like a proverb, sort of. So it says, allow those who want to understand. It says, another broiler chicken voting against Christmas. They want to chop both ways. Only Kwame and perhaps myself and a few others understand. Another broiler chicken voting against Christmas. Okay, you know the broilers are not happy when it's Christmas. So okay, you know. But Kojo Chumbafo is back on this same Consultative Assembly matter. It says more once again, Mr. Yosafo Mafo did not go to the Constituent Assembly to represent the MPP. He went as the nominee from the Ghana Institution of Engineers. How do I know? My father sent him there because my father was the president of the Institution of Engineers at the time. Tell His Eminence Kwesi Botwe that I appreciate that he may not have been born then, But that's why history is a subject in school. Indeed, Mr. Yaosafo Mafko represented in a political tradition because politics was banned then and the MPP was not a promulgated party. Okay.
But that's the same point I'm making.
That's, hold on. That's so. And the Master Planner Junior from Kintampo says, good morning to you and the panel members, especially Lawyer Kwesi Botwe. Now, it says members of parliament can be given a quota of representation of ministerial appointments. Maybe instead of the current clause, majority of MPs should be ministers. It says we can change it to 10% of MPs to be ministers. Anyway, 32 days to go. Dr. Bamia is number 3 on the ballot paper. Master Planner Junior.
That's
policy
true. Dr. Mahmoud Bamia is number 3.
All right. And then let me end with this one. It says that, good morning. Now, this government is nothing but a scam. Staff of Ghana Water Limited, who are lawfully recruited in November 2024, have been suspended without any justification, explanation, or formal communication since 11th February 2025. We have remained on suspension without salary to date. This unlawful, unconstitutional, democratic, wicked, illegal, and inhumane suspension without pay is a clear violation of Ghana's labor laws, particularly Section 62 of the Labour Act 2003 as 651. The suspended staff have submitted thousands of petitions to the President himself, the Vice President of the Cabinet Secretary at the Presidency, the Chief of Staff, the Executive Secretary to the President's personal advisor, the National Chairman of NDC, Honorable Felix Kwacho Fosu, and top leadership of the current administration and the Speaker of Parliament, and his 2 deputies and leadership of Parliament, yet nothing has been done. Yagunu sends that message. Yagu, this is about the second time you've sent this. I think that we may have to escalate it to the minister himself, perhaps the Labour Minister, for him to look into this, Rashid Pelpo, doctor. Anyway, so it's not time for, you initially made a general comment about whether we even need a review at all, but you haven't, commented on.
I've never had my two.
Yes.
I've never had my two.
But let me tell you, the good news is that management has agreed to add some 15 more minutes.
All right, let me clear this issue and then work from this.
Management has been generous and very benevolent.
Well, it's a 21-year-old management.
Let me clear this issue and then we're going to make a very important issue here.
Oh, it's actually Steno.
Oh yeah, I'll give you some time.
Okay, right, that's fine.
Still on the judiciary, right? There's this recommendation that because of caseloads, some cases should terminate at the Court of Appeal level. That I don't agree.
Okay.
I mean, some of these recommendations, I find it, very, very, I don't know why such situations are coming. Why should the case be terminated at the Court of Appeal level?
But the case is terminated at the Court of Appeal.
No. You see, let me tell you one thing here. To seek leave of the court, going to the Supreme Court, it is dependent on the panel of the Court of Appeal, right? We have so many situations where the trial court takes a position, the Court of Appeal upholds that position, and the Supreme Court overturns that situation.
100%.
So, as I said earlier, we are talking about justice here, not the law. If the law does not bring about justice, then it is of no use. I know of so many cases where the trial court has done this, the Court of Appeal holding on to the position, the Supreme Court, even a review, has overturned all those decisions, right?
That's true.
So if we want to say because of case load, that is the argument here. You are saying because of case load at the Supreme Court. And that's what I'm saying. You see, some of these things, you cannot deny people justice. Case load at the Supreme Court, so some cases should terminate.
Convenient.
It's not the best. It's not the best. Just because the Constitution says that parliamentary dispute cases ends at the Court of Appeal, so you should bring some more cases to end at the Court.
No, it's not just that one though.
No,
fine. Out of fairness.
But then they are specific, and we should know that. But not when individuals' rights are being, denied. Individuals' rights are being abused, not those ones. We need to be careful about how we handle these things. And then one other thing that goes in there about why should the Council of State be the ones to determine the removal of
the CJ,
the judges and what have you,
and they would also determine the removal of their own member. How can you be the same court? The Council of State should determine the removal of the Superior Court judges, the CJs, and what have you, right? And when it comes to the Council of State themselves, they will also determine how to remove their person.
So that should also go to
that one should also go to another body. you want to be a judge in your own court. It can't be.
Okay.
And then the last one I want to say about this judiciary thing is the idea that you say you can bring a lawyer of over 15 years to come and be a CJ. I think that one, we shouldn't entertain it.
But it's already law.
It's in existence.
No, don't forget.
Classic example.
Don't forget to be a Superior Court judge, not a CJ. To be a Superior Court judge. So you have the 12 years, 15 years, whatever, 10 years and whatever. But to become a CJ, I think that one we shouldn't entertain. Not forgetting the fact that in the case of this in the existing law, it does not talk about the Chief Justice. It says a Superior Court judge.
A Superior Court judge, you can be a CJ.
No. So are you suggesting that somebody should come, be vetted for the position of a Superior Court judge, then tomorrow you vet him for CJ?
But that's the current
that is not what it is. The current situation is that you have, is it 10 years for the High Court, 12 years for the...
limited to the
whatever. It does it.
Years,
to the Superior Court, not a CJ.
No, but you see, the Superior Courts are in three legs. The High Court, the Court of Appeal, and the Supreme Court.
Yes.
So, I don't know what you are talking about.
Are you dealing
with the Supreme Court?
I said, I'm talking about the CJ.
The CJ.
The CJ, yes.
But once you can be a justice of the Supreme Court,
qualification
you are qualified to be
that is what I'm saying, that then you must first be vetted. You must first be vetted. You see? And don't forget.
You're making a Tokuno argument.
No. And don't forget. No, don't forget that in the Ejechum case. Look, don't forget that in the Ejechum case, what did the Supreme Court say? They said you must first be a Superior Court judge.
Yes.
Don't forget. They said you must first be a Superior Court judge before you become the CJ. So how then do you say that a lawyer should go straight to the office of a Chief Justice? I'm not taking it out of context. I'm telling you exactly what it is. I'm saying to bring somebody, first of all, you must be...
Because you're using my time.
First of all, you must be a Superior Court judge before you become a CJ. So the qualification barriers are there. So if you're a Superior Court judge, 15 years, you can become a Supreme Court judge.
The two rules are the same.
But then you cannot say that. So if you're appointing him as a Chief Justice, is he first a Superior Court judge?
If the person is a lawyer, that's what you mean.
Yes.
No, but hold on. We need, and there's something, and pardon my ignorance about this.
Okay.
Must somebody necessarily be a Supreme Court judge to be made a CJ?
That's
the argument he's making.
That is the point I'm making. That in the Ejechum case, when this matter of the removal of whatever came up, the issue came up that you must first be a Superior Court judge before you are a CJ.
Okay.
So the Superior Court judge, whatever action is taken against them.
Not necessarily a Supreme Court judge, but a Superior Court judge.
No, yes, it's a Superior Court. Now, so the argument is this, that to say you are appointing a lawyer straight, then it means that you are making nonsense of the Supreme Court ruling. That's the point I'm making.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, if the recommendations by the HK Prempeh group is anything to go by, then it means that it would, if that is accepted, then I'm sure that would replace the Ejechum recommendations in it. Anyway, let me. But before I come to you, let me read this from Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo. He sent this very brief article, and it says press statement by Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo on Ghana's constitutional review and the future of democratic governance. Doc, good morning. It's good to know that you're watching us.
Special good morning to him.
Discussions, sorry?
A special good morning to him.
To him, okay, all right. He's watching you. I have followed the ongoing discussions on constitutional review in Ghana with keen interest and a deep sense of responsibility to the nation. It is important for Ghanaians to understand that the 1992 Constitution was born out of a delicate historical compromise. Its framing was influenced by the transition from military rule to civilian democratic governance. I wish to acknowledge the critical role played by Justice D.F. Anand, former judge of the Superior Court, and Speaker of Parliament, whose initiative and counsel helped persuade Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings to finally accept a return to constitutional rule. That compromise, however necessary at the time, has left us with a constitution that overprotects the office of the president. The constitution contains numerous clauses that effectively shield the president during and even after his tenure in office. These protections make it nearly impossible to hold the president fully accountable under the law. Now, this situation is no longer tenable in a mature democracy. The president is responsible to the people, and where wrongdoing occurs, the president must be subject to the law like every other citizen. Excessive immunity provisions must therefore be reviewed and removed. Now, on the matter of presidential term, now, with regards to the first one, it's been cured by the new recommendation. It says now that immunity clause, we are proposing that we take it out. So that once you're done, anybody can take you on.
Not enough.
It's not enough.
The proposal
is not enough. Okay, maybe you can do with it when I come back to you. So please add it to the things you want to address. Now, on the matter of presidential tenure, I state without hesitation that there must be no extension of the current term limits. The existing arrangement of 2 4-year terms is sufficient and must remain unchanged. 4 years is adequate time for a serious and prepared government to make any mark, or to make its mark. Governance is a continuum, and any responsible political party must be ready to govern from the first day in office. Arguments suggesting a need for additional time only creates unnecessary opportunities for inefficiency and corruption. I also wish to emphasize that unfinished national project must be continued by successive government. And for me, that is the elephant in the room. There's nothing like enough time for any president. The most important thing is that Mr. Tino Biba on to us. So that's all. That's what we need to emphasize on. Even if you give 10 years, they'll tell you that, you know what I mean? Anyway, the practice of abandoning ongoing projects in order to initiate new ones has become a major source of waste and corruption. While continuity may not necessarily be entrenched as a constitutional provision, it must become a binding principle of responsible governance. It won't work this town unless you make it law. Because in the constitution, it encourages that, but we don't do it.
Because nobody is holding the president.
Yeah, nobody's holding, exactly. Yeah. Until you make it law, until you legislate it, people won't do it. Anyway, so we asked on this one, I respectfully disagree. I think it must be legislated. Anyway, furthermore, the system of ex gratia payments and excessive post office benefits for public office holders must be abolished. Public servants are already compensated through their salaries. There is no justification for lifelong benefits, state-funded housing, or undue privileges. These resources should instead be redirected towards improving the living conditions of ordinary Ghanaians. I fully support proposals to appoint ministers strictly from outside Parliament. A clear separation between the executive and the legislature is essential for effective oversight and accountability. Parliament must be empowered to independently scrutinize government actions without conflict of interest. Finally, I believe that leadership of the nation requires maturity and experience. The minimum age requirement for presidential candidates should be reviewed upward to reflect the seriousness and responsibility of the office. Constitutional reform must not be driven by partisan interests, but by the collective good of the nation. Ghana has reached a stage in its democratic journey where accountability, discipline, and national interest must take precedence over political convenience. I urge all stakeholders to approach this constitutional review process with honesty, courage, and genuine commitment to the future of Ghana. Signed, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo. Abdullah, you have 10 minutes to look at your issues, and then we can wrap up and say goodbye.
Yes, please. Okay, so, Edgar, respectfully.
You want to disagree? Okay, that's fine. Okay. That's fine. Okay. Yes, please go ahead.
All right, so I had a number of
I'm not taking your time.
Yes.
I had a number of things that had been touched on by
Hold on
my
a second.
colleagues.
The camera guys will take yours. Right. Yes.
Okay. Being touched on by my colleagues, so I will not delve deeper into those ones, except to point out some few things. Okay. So, for instance, Kwesi mentioned the appointment of MPs as ministers and all otherwise, and he finds it problematic. And I tend to agree and disagree on the same issue. So my fears are that once you remove people, potential MPs from the executive, what we have currently is that people go into Parliament with the hope of entering into the executive space, and sometimes because of that appeal, you have quality people entering there because they know if they sit back and try to play other roles without going into Parliament, they may not necessarily be identified and be appointed. Chances are that with this new recommendation, you lose those people because those people will no longer go to Parliament, and for the fear of not being appointed into the executive position.
True.
And so you lose that kind of quality. Now, if it turns out that the executive does not appoint them, then it makes it even worse. So, quality brains, quality hands, good experiences will be lost in the entire governance structure because of this. But is it a good thing? Yeah, I think I tend to agree with the recommendations, except with this fear that maybe it has to be looked at. I mean, however, it to be seen, or to be addressed.
But how about those who also actually say that and that's Article 66 one or Article what? I've forgotten what the article. But this actually, the provision in this constitution which enjoins or obliges the president to choose at least 50% of his cabinet ministers from parliament, rather ties his hands. There are many, many people outside of parliament that the president can choose. But because of this constitutional obligation, he's forced to choose from parliament.
So what you're saying,
in
effect, what you're saying is that we should rather reduce or make it flexible for the president to choose from wherever he wants.
I agree.
I mean, that's what
it should rather be flexible. Whether from parliament or outside parliament.
So flexibility is okay.
Yeah.
Except that our current system has also been designed to, as it were, allow the executive so much influence over the legislature, and so taking out the quality, the same quality that we are seeking to bring in, is taken out by the influence or the influx of the executive in Parliament, and so it's quite a difficult thing.
But Justice, are you saying that
we've had a rubber stamp Parliament for the past 32 years?
No, I understand that, but I'm saying,
and it is only because everybody in there is hoping to be here.
That's fine, but are you suggesting that if we can't get people from Parliament to be appointed as ministers, deputy ministers, and so on, we can't get anybody else? I mean, without Parliament, we can't get any quality.
We can't get the quality. No, but that's my point. My point is that because the president has over 40 million people to choose from,
yes,
the current system does not help the president.
Yes.
At the same time, remember that Parliament also needs the same quality. So my fear is that we shouldn't be doing this without thinking about the unintended consequences, because the unintended consequences could also be dire for Parliament. That's all. That's a caution that I'm throwing out.
Right.
So that is one of the things that I needed to bring out. There are a number of things that most people have ignored, either because it doesn't affect them directly or because it's immaterial to them. And one of those is the issue of the decision in Asari vs. Attorney General that the proposal seeks to overturn. What we have presently is that in the absence of the president, the vice president takes over. In the absence of the vice president, the speaker takes over. And in the absence of the speaker, the CJ, even though these are not necessarily detailed out in its clear terms, as I've said, in the Constitution. And the absence of the president, or in his inability to perform his function, has been interpreted and enforced by the Supreme Court to the extent that simply because the president is in Togo, just 30 minutes away, the president is unable to perform his function. I mean, that clearly makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense in a modern democracy. And this is where a Gen Z president may come in, because this can never happen in a Gen Z world. I mean, you don't need to be, simply because you are in Togo, 20 minutes away. And so because of that, a new president has to be sworn in. Now, dangers are that, and I have raised these dangers over the years, for the past 10 years. So imagine you have a new vice president that takes over and decides to make an order directed at our security agencies not to allow the president who is out of the country to re-enter. Constitutional coup. Who caused it?
The Constitution.
But so, can an acting president do that?
Why not? The Constitution. You have to obey him.
So you will the same powers.
Once he's the president, he's the commander-in-chief. You have to obey him.
There's actually nothing like acting president. You become the president.
He's the president. Literally. He was being sworn in.
This is very risky.
These are dangerous.
This is very serious.
Very dangerous.
I've never really thought about it that way.
Well, thank God I
brought
it up.
So the powers are not limited by virtue of the fact that
No. In fact, the moment he takes over, he can literally change the entire cabinet. To his entire family. So he puts his family members as cabinet.
So a classic example is, you remember when the Ayawaso West Bogon incident happened?
Yes.
It was the vice president then that established the committee of inquiry to investigate the happenings at Ayawaso West.
Right, that's true. That's true. All right.
So the point is that the inability of the president to perform his functions should not be about his absence from the country. That's the whole point I am making.
Okay.
And so the committee tackled this, and I love that recommendation. And I recommend to all of us to to advocate for this to come into being because it's a very positive one. I can understand that the history of this is from Nkrumah. In the first Republican Constitution, the president didn't have a vice president. And in his absence, a committee was set up to oversee the activities of the nation. And the argument is that it is what occasioned the coup that he's overthrown. And so because of that, we ended up having this position of a vice president, and then in the absence of a vice president...
What is HK Prempeh, for those who've not seen the documents, what are they proposing?
So they are proposing...
For situations where the president has to travel outside Ghana.
So the president still remains in charge.
Right.
He remains, regardless where he is.
That's fine.
In fact, the American president, wherever he is in the world, he's still the president of America. Nobody, takes over from him. Now, directly related to that, right, is the issue of the Speaker of Parliament taking over when the Vice President is also not around. Now, the danger, in fact, that one is even more dangerous than the earlier one that I just mentioned. And they address this by pointing out that, assuming, as we had in the last Parliament, where you have an opposition Speaker of Parliament, in other words, an NDC Speaker of Parliament, as against an MPP Vice President and the President. And Akufo-Addo is out of the country, Bawumia is out of the country, and Speaker Babin is the new president.
Yeah.
The next minute after being sworn in, he sacks everybody, in fact, forbids Akufo-Addo and Bawumia from returning to the jurisdiction. And who would have caused this mess? Now, the other side of it is their death. In the event of the president or the vice president dying, automatically an opposition party becomes an opposition leader becomes a president.
Right.
And that is even more murkier to the extent that that opposition party would have had their own presidential aspirant or flag bearer. Yet a Speaker of Parliament becomes a president.
Okay.
And he will succeed in dribbling these two people.
All right.
The opposition and his own party. He will dribble everybody.
Okay.
And he becomes the president.
All right.
And this person did not have any role to become a president. Yet, by virtue of the constitutional arrangement, he takes over this position. And then it becomes more dirty for all of us. So they say that should this event happen, president and vice president out of the world, cabinet should nominate a member.
Right.
To be the president, rather than having an opposition speaker becoming the president.
Okay.
So I think this is also
as we go, Moro, there's also a very important point. There's a very important point that I want to draw viewers' attention to.
Okay.
Are you aware that?
I had a last one.
Okay.
Let me finish it.
30 seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds. I'll take us off. Yes. Now this one has to do with capping of parliamentary seats.
Yes.
They cap it as 276.
Yes.
Now 276 is an even number.
Oh.
It's an even number. Most people have ignored this or have probably not even seen it. Now, if you have parliament being even, as chances are that we are likely to have the hung parliament as we have in there. What it means is that where vote has to be by virtue of simple majority, nobody would win.
True.
There will be complete stalemate, and nothing goes on.
I don't know whether the parliament...
And the speaker cannot vote, remember?
Yes.
Speaker cannot vote.
Yes.
The only time somebody can vote as a speaker is where he's a deputy, by virtue of the case of Justice Southline, Attorney General. So with that happening, you have a tie.
Yeah. And
no decision is made.
And the standing orders, once at a tie, it is termed as a nullity.
Yeah. Moro, as we go, you see, there is a very important proposal by the committee, which I think must critically be looked at, because it seems to me that it's a way to smuggle LGBTQ protection into our constitution, where there's a provision in the constitution, in this document, that provides for the intersex correctional surgery. So there is let me just read this.
Okay.
So the LGBT protection provision, which makes provision for intersex correctional surgery permissible only in adult persons.
Okay.
I think that is quite problematic, where now we are legislating or introducing a constitutional provision, trying to give constitutional blessings to intersex, surgeries. I think it's quite problematic.
It's a very interesting point you're making. Anyway, so Master Planner, thank you very much. You drew my attention to 78.1, which has to do with the ministerial appointment and recommending majority of them coming from Parliament. Thank you so very much, Master Planner Junior.
Reverend Tim Fodjo says he's watching us.
Reverend, I've not heard from you.
He's been a lead advocate of the passage against the law on LGBTQ. But the majority leader found an interesting way to delete that aspect from the other people of Parliament. But I'm sure when Parliament reconvenes, considering the competence of Reverend Ntim Fodjo and his colleagues, I'm sure they will.
The front burner.
Yeah.
Reverend Ntim Fodjo, thank you very much for that. But it's good to hear from you. It's been a long time. So, gentlemen, this is where I want to draw the curtain on today's show. I think it's been a very exciting conversation. It's been good. It's been very productive, and it's been.
Oh, you didn't allow me to say a special good morning to
okay.
My boss, the former Vice President of Dr. Mahmoud
Mahmoud.
He's number 3 on the ballot, and he's currently touring the Greater Accra region.
Okay.
The party people across the country are saying just evidence that he's the most formidable candidate, he's the most competent candidate, and he's the most experienced candidate to lead this country.
Okay.
And so I am very confident that once he's given the opportunity, he's going to win power for the MPP.
So what do you gentlemen see at the back?
See you in 2026.
Yes. So does it mean today is the final edition?
Yes, final edition.
Oh,
yes, we're back next week Monday. Yes, no, we're back next week Monday.
Oh, that's good.
Justice Abdullahi is a private legal practitioner, law lecturer at UPSA. Thank you very much for your time. And also, Kwesi Boche Jr., also a private legal practitioner. He is an aide to former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who was aspiring to lead the New Patriotic Party in the 2028 elections. And also, a very good friend of mine, Vincent Jokoto, who is also a solicitor and an entrepreneur, also joining us this morning on the show. And also, Edgar Redu was with us. Unfortunately, he's had to leave because there are some other engagements that he needs to attend to. My name is Aldo Moro. Thanks very much for watching Good Morning Ghana for 2025. Oh, sure. I mean, 3 seconds. 3 seconds.
So, Happy New Year to all family and friends
in advance.
Yes, from Kumasi, from Swami to Wenchi to Selkwa, and of course to the people of North Legon and Kwabena.
Okay. All right, Vincent. Happy New Year.
Ready for the P3 experience with Ghana's gospel powerhouse, Philippa Befi. This January, get ready for an atmosphere of worship, praise, and prayer with renowned anointed ministers Emmy Newman, Agnes Opukwajeman, Perez Music, Ifeosu Pepra, and the powerful voices of Pentecost. Jumadi Baba, so the first Sunday of 2026, 4th January, 4 p.m. Pepe, Ewokukumemle PIWC, ATTC Hope. Obiamre Bina Jumadi, free. This event is proudly sponsored by Next Level Energy Drink, KK Prepare Roofing, Tobinco Pharmaceuticals, and Glyco, and our proud media partners. Come and encounter God as we praise and let's pray for our families and children. It's the P3 experience with Philippa Befi, where praise meets prayer.
This December, Faith Life Church crowns the year with 2 unforgettable nights of worship and power. On Tuesday, 30th December at 7 p.m., get ready for a transformational encounter, a night of music ministration featuring Team Eternity, Akase Brimpong, the Faith Life Collective, guest minister Pastor Emmett Konedu. Then, on Wednesday, 31st December at 9 p.m., join us for a glorious watch night service as we cross from 2025 into 2026 under open heavens. With MOG Music and the Faith Life Collective leading prophetic praise and Pastor Daniel Yao Entry releasing divine instruction for your new year. Venue for both events is the Junction Mall, Nungwa Barrier. 2 nights, 30th and 31st December. One encounter with God. Faith Life Church, step into 2026.
They say art is a symbol because man is a symbol. Symbols are a depiction of life. They communicate the intangibles and leaves the mind awakened by the wonders of life. Our folkloric symbol show talks about our symbols in connection to our history, religion, and society's norms and traditions, from the north down to the south and in between.
The animal is called Le. But because they are found on the hill out there, the name of the hill became Lebon, which means when you go there, you get more of the lamb to hunt or you take them as game.
Join us on our folkloric symbol show on Metro TV.
From finding your dream home to building a legacy for your family, the Homeowner Show has been your trusted guide.
How sure are you what you're getting is the right land? And it has to do with searches, land commission, checking social planning authority, checking everything to make sure that what you are buying is not a problem or a challenge prone transaction.
The stress of even not owning a house and constantly coughing up to rent is a big issue.
Join me, Hannah Atiasi, and my distinguished panelists as we delve into exciting conversations. Season 3 of The Homeowner Show, every Saturday at 6 p.m., only on Metro TV. Don't just own a house, build a legacy for your family.
Journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step.
The journey continues, but becoming that phenomenal lady doesn't happen in a day.
It takes courage and refusing to settle for less.
This season on the PL Show, it gets much more diverse,
engaging and impactful. This is the PL Show.
We paint the perfect picture of pain, sleepless nights, hard work, and of course, the ultimate breathtaking view from the mountaintop, success.
Successful ladies from all walks of life doing amazing things and positively effective change in their respective fields.
And as you know, we share all these with you, our ardent follower, to help you navigate that journey and also come out strong and phenomenal.
This is the PL Show.
It's brought to you by Kale Charcoal, Kale 360, and Kale Kids Toothpaste.
Sports with me, Michael Kofi.